that, like I said, that's my second one. So Chris replaced my other one. So he's a good guy.
He's a good dude.
Are we the only two?
As of right now, Elisha is trying to find a spot to she can get in. So.
And Amy was having signal issues.
Yeah. Amy was having signal issues. She's got a teacher meeting. So, all right, and we are live. We already got 8 people in the house already. We'll just go down the list real quick if y'all don't mind. We're going to go with, there's Avid. We've got Sampy was in here. We've got Anglerholics Fishing and Outdoor Adventures. We got James Patrick and his sister, Lizabella. We've got Shireena's better half. Mr. Thomas is in here.
He's one of those.
And Miss Becca. And Chris from Hooks and Hammocks. And 351 Cleveland.
Hey.
Awesome.
Appreciate y'all coming in here. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, share it out for these ladies, because that's what it's all about. It's about them today. It's not about anybody else. I might even take myself off the picture and let them. So, but if y'all seen the thumbnail, it is an all women's angler tackle talk, except for me. So I'm the only one that's not a woman. So as you can see, but.
You're allowed in here today.
No.
I'm allowed in here today? All right, cool. I appreciate it. Hey, my name can go past for it. I mean, I am Kelly, so hey.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to try to bring
We got Hooked Up is in here. We got Willie from Dotson's Explicit Channel.
What's up, Willie?
Becky is in here. That's Dr. Becky. Dr. Becky, I did get your package today. I have not opened it yet, but I will open it. I might have my little girl bring it down to me, and we can open it on the live. I'm going to show you some jigs that makes for us. So, but let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to What's in Your Tackle episode. I believe it is 18 or 19. I can't remember which one it is, but this is all women's angler tackle talk. We've got Bex from NoReelLoss, and we got Shireena in here from Shireena, Keeping It Real. But before I go any further, if you all see the little marquee on the bottom that's going across the screen, please keep Miss Katie Collins in your all's prayers. She texted back this morning and said she is positive for COVID. The update right now is they're still waiting on to see if she's going to have to be admitted into the hospital. She does have some underlying issues, so right now that's what we're waiting on to see if she's going to have to be admitted or not. So definitely be praying for her. But all right, Bex, Shireena, how are you all?
Bex wear a hat. I was like, why wear a hat? I always have my hat on. So
you know, I'm always wearing a hat.
So.
It's because I have a COVID hairstyle. I'm doing good, Kelly.
I just don't have a hairstyle.
Wear a hat.
Yeah, join the hat club.
Yeah, I do. That's the reason why I have no hair. But like I said, I mean, this is the tackle talk. So let's just get right into it, and let's talk about. We always start at the bottom, so let's talk about hooks. What is your go-to catfish hook?
Sure,
Bex, you want to start at that one?
All right, I'll go.
Yep.
So right now I'm rocking anywhere from a 7/0 to a 9/0 Gamakatsu circle hook. I am eager to try out Uncle Lou's hooks. I'm just trying to get through the batch of hooks that I currently have. But I love the hooks I use. I feel like 8/0 is my sweet spot on the Potomac River.
Can't go wrong with an 8-aught. What about you, Shireena?
Well, I use 4 to 6-aught Eagle Claw circle hooks. So I'm trying to move up to maybe 7, 8, but I'm still in the little girls. So, but I still.
Well, it really depends, and I mean, there's a lot of other people. A lot of people talk about it. It really depends on the area that you're in too. If your water's got smaller fish in it, you don't need no big, huge 8 or 9 or 10-aught hooks. I mean, your 6s are going to be just fine if that's 5 or 10s or 5 or 6s is going to be just your size.
Yeah.
But like where Bex is at, and she's up there on the Potomac, she's going to need some bigger hooks because they've got some monster fish up there.
Yeah.
Definitely. But the Ohio does too. The Ohio does too. So, and off the hooks, what is your preferred knot off your hook?
Shireena, you take this one first.
Well, let's see. I don't even know what knot do I use. Yeah, I use a Palomar knot for everything. So it's pretty secure.
I love the Palomar knot. I think it is like one of the most versatile, like strong knots you can use. But recently for my hooks, so I use the Palomar for my swivel, like attaching my leader to the main line. But for my actual circle hook, I've been doing the no knot snell knot. The reason I switched to that is YouTube teaches me everything I know about fishing. And I forget which video it was, but it was just talking about how the snell knot does a better job of positioning the hook to avoid snags and to help with hookup ratio. So I don't know if that's true, but that's been working for me. And I just love absorbing information about fishing and trying new stuff.
Now I'd have to try that because we have a lot of snags over here. So
yeah, I really like it.
Palomar is super simple, So.
The no knot snells, the snell knots forever, like really, I should not say forever because I've not been fishing that long, but in my fishing lifetime, it feels like I've been very scared of the snell knot. Like it feels like it should be intimidating, right? But now it's really not that hard. It just looks real pretty.
Yeah.
And if y'all got any questions, make sure you put it up. Put a question mark in front of it. That way I know for a fact it's a question. And you're all not just chatting along with each other. We've got Mr. Duggar Fishing's coming in. We got Gross. We got Fins and Finds. Bob's in the house. Chrissy Brown.
Yeah, ask questions.
I think we've got everybody.
I'll ask you questions, Shireena.
Oh, yeah. Any questions?
Yeah. Before we get on any further, starting with you, Bex, what got you into catfishing?
Yeah. So it's like a long and short story, but I did fish as a kid, but it was like, typical like parents taking you out to do something on a weekend here and there. And it was fun, but it was not really something that I ever like got into. And then when this whole quarantine and shutdown stuff happened, I really needed to get out of the house. Nature has always been kind of a source of serenity for me. And my nephew had been begging me to take him fishing. My nephews live with me. Their dad isn't here. And so like I kind of often take that role of, like, hey, we're going to go do the fishing thing, or we're going to go do the sport thing, or whatever it may be. And so I dedicated, it was honestly over a month trying to catch my first bluegill. Like that's really how long it took. And I remember the moment that we got the bluegill, that bluegill changed my life, because that tug, that feeling of reward of catching a fish was just epic. And from there, I just couldn't stop fishing. And then winter came along. We were doing bass fishing and stuff like that. I'm multi-species angler. I love all kinds of fish to catch. And I'm always looking to knock something off my bucket list.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like I would get so excited when I remember the first striper I caught would just like, oh, I think I scared everybody around me because I was like screaming with excitement. But winter, we kind of realized that one of the fish that you could still catch in our area with pretty high success rate was catfish. I had caught a catfish by mistake once. I took a picture of it. It slapped me in the face with its tail. You know, I was like, okay, I've held a catfish. I like them. They're a fun fight. And I was watching, you know, Chunky at the time. I found his lives. I kind of watched how he set up his rigs. Steven and I decided to just, like, we went out multiple times before we ever went live. It took us a few trips, much like the bluegill, to like kind of catch our first catfish. But when I did that first like head toss of a blue catfish, it was awesome. And then I just got sucked into this awesome community, which has been fantastic.
What about you, Shireena? What got you into doing catfishing?
Well, let's see. I fished as a kid, you know, with my grandpa and my dad, you know, park pond, bread balls and hot dogs, catching bluegill and things, you know, occasional catfish, you know, but like Bex was saying, you know, it wasn't as, you know, exciting then, you know, but as I grew older, you know, as an adult, I met Thomas and that's all he did. Okay. And I was like, you know, I guess I wanted to go fishing, but anyways, Thomas fished all the time. And then it got to the point where he was always out at the river. And I was like, well, we need to spend some time together, you know, like, can you stop fishing? But he took me out and, you know, I started to enjoy it, you know, and after a couple times him taking me out, you know, he went to work and I got bored and I got his stuff and went out to the river and actually caught a fish myself. I was like, oh, wow. But I broke off myself too. And as Bex was saying, YouTube is your best friend. Okay. I was so afraid that he was going to get mad at me that I broke his line and everything. I had to go upstairs and get on YouTube and learn how to tie my rig up my pole and everything, and you know, like that. And now it's just, I love it. And I mean, I catch everything, not just catfish, you know, because I can't limit myself just to one fish because there's so many out there, you know. So
oh yeah, absolutely.
Pretty much it.
Yeah, y'all got those freshwater drums, right?
Oh yeah.
I want to catch me one of them.
That's all I would catch, you know. They're like, oh, another drum, you know. So that's where I got my name, Drum Queen, from.
I love it.
Yep. Miss Becca said, what a sweet story. And Thomas is like, yep, he'll take the blame for it. But getting back into the tackle, we picked the hooks and we got into the knots. Shireena, what is your go-to line?
Go-to what?
What's your go-to line?
Oh, slime line for my main line, and Berkeley big game for my leader.
Yeah, I'm using
what pound weight?
What pound? 30.
Mm-hmm.
30 and 20 for my main
30
line,
and 20.
and 30
Okay.
and 20 for my leader.
Yeah. I use big game too, 30-pound test. I really like it. I've been pondering, because I use braid for bass fishing. I've been pondering trying some braid, especially on my casting rod. But I think that's super strong line, and it's worked out for me. And you know, I see a lot of, like, one of the things that drives me crazy on the river is pulling up all the 60-pound like monofilament and, you know, 80-pound monofilament, this crazy braid and stuff that people have just like let snag off. And one of the things, if I was to teach someone about catfishing, is you can catch a big fish, a 50-pound fish, on 25 to 30-pound test. And in fact, it will be more fun that way, So, I mean, you look at the finesse tournament, and Stevie caught a 5-pound catfish on 4-pound test, So, yeah, I think sometimes people overcompensate with their
Right.
pound test.
Oh yeah.
I thought about going to braid too, but then I thought, what for?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I know
Yeah.
we have all the snags and stuff out here, and I do break off a lot, but as far as like braid, I've seen, it gets tattered also.
Yep.
So I'm gonna stick with my mono.
Yeah.
So
That
And
big game, though.
area, I have to.
that big game, oh my gosh, it pulled our boat.
Yeah, I mean, it's super strong.
It's some tough stuff.
I can usually break it off on my own, like if I get snagged, but the other day I had to ask the fishing magician to like break it off for me, because I was like, I can. I'm like using all my muscle, and this 30-pound test is not breaking.
Yeah, I did a video about some 30-pound line, and it was, it's no joke.
Yeah.
Which one do y'all want to answer that question?
I can.
So other than catfish, what is your favorite species to catch?
Carp.
Mm.
Yeah. Great fight. It's an awesome fight. I mean, no matter, they could be small. They fight, it's a great fight.
Their fight is like a bit scary. Like I remember the first time I hooked into a carp, I was like, what is this?
Like what's coming up?
Yeah. For me, it's any new species I get. Like I said, I do like bass fishing, but like getting a new record, whatever that may be, whether it's a new species or catching a fish on a new type of lure or a new type of bait, like those are my favorite moments, because it's like what I love about fishing is it's like you're piecing together this puzzle, and you're learning so much about the environment around you, the weather around you, the structure under the water, where the fish are, what the fish are doing at any given time. And so like if you can figure out that puzzle, it's awesome.
But really, really. I've learned a lot in the past year that I've been fishing just by trial and error, and I'm like, oh, I see that. And like last year I was like, oh, I see that. Now I know.
Yeah.
There, something like that. Or I used that last year. Now I know why I use it.
Yeah. I remember I did the shad run here in DC for the first time this year. And one of my favorite, like, kind of like aha moments was basically the seconds from when I cast to when I start reeling back in, and kind of mapping the depth of the water with that pause to kind of understand where the fish are hanging out, right? And like and sometimes you can even use the current to be like, yeah, I'm in that exact same spot because I can feel the way that my lure is moving through the water.
Right. Do you ever, like when you're reeling, do you kind of listen to what your reel's doing or your line's doing?
Sometimes, yeah.
I tend to do that too. So
yeah.
So I'm like, yes, I'm listening. Because you can kind of there's just a different noise.
Yeah. I think for me too, like knowing the different, like you start to get like you're like, oh, that's grass, or I'm in rocks, or that's wood. You start to get a better understanding of, like, it's kind of like a bat echo location. You're like, oh yes, this is what's happening here.
Right.
Thanks, Becca, for messaging to bring up links.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
That now, like as far as knowing when a different type of fish hits, you know what it is. Like you were saying with the roll and the tug and stuff like that. Like now I can tell, oh, that's a carp, that's a catfish, that's a drum. Oh, it's a sturgeon or something like that. You just learn them.
Oh, I love to catch a sturgeon.
I catch those quite a bit. They're not the big, the big ones, but my longest one is 36 inches. So
I would love to. They are in the Potomac, but they're very rare. We have this short nose sturgeon. I think that's what it's called. And up until recently, they haven't been seen in a really long time. But someone recently hooked up with one, and it was kind of exciting for the community because it was like, okay, there's still hope.
There.
There's still hope.
They're trying to come back. Yeah.
And Now around here, we there's a black one that if you find a black one, DNR, will be like, hey, and you can get $100 for it. So it's like,
wow,
black one.
Yeah, yeah, I love that.
So yeah,
I love that. We got Elisha in here.
Elisha,
Maybe.
I think.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Trying to come in here. Rich and Leo.
Hey, I'm sweating. I was trying to make sure I don't have raccoon eyes, but I can't see myself on there. So.
And you got a boat behind you? I feel like I just got this.
Yeah. I had it all set up, but I had dogs it was not cooperating, so I had to just move. And
Awesome.
so I was sweating running around. But I was listening.
Awesome.
So I have answers if you have questions for me, but I was part of the show from over here.
All right,
Well,
Elisha,
it's
you got
good
to
to see
catch up.
you for the very first time.
Yeah. So, well, my name's Elisha, and this is going to be my first tournament.
Awesome.
And, yeah. So the first question you all asked was about hooks, I believe.
Yep.
And I use circle
Go ahead.
hooks. Yeah, I use circle hooks. The knot is normally a snail knot with that. I do Palomar knot for everything else. Line, I'm still trying to figure out what my line is. So I have everything, mono, fluoro, braid, every weight you can imagine, just trying to get a feel for it. A lot of times I set my catfish poles out and I don't get bites on those, and then I bring in like a 5-pound channel on my lightweight, bait pole. So I'm not picky about what I use, but I would like to catch some nice big fish on my nice new rods I got back here. But
You'll get there. You get there. It's always it takes time. Takes time on the water. You got to get out there and just fish, and you'll eventually get on the one.
yeah, like I've gotten some decent fish, and I have some poles that were okay, but like not the Uncle Lou's, and stuff like that. But I've only had a boat for like a month, and so I'm still learning, all the stuff with that. I haven't caught a catfish over probably 3 pounds in my boat yet, but I catch them off the bank. So yeah. I mean, I'm fishing where Ryan Bortz fishes, and he gets big fish. So he's kind of pointing me in the right direction, and I'm gonna get there for sure.
You're trying to make us nervous, Elisha?
I know.
Yeah, he's my trainer for the month. You don't know this, but
sweating a little bit over here.
Yeah. Well, I had to do something, like you all have already had one under your belt. I'm new to this, so this is my first time really showing my face on YouTube on my channel. So
I'm glad you got in. I've been waiting.
Yeah, I was excited about it, nervous, and straightened my hair, but then it got hot and started curling, and doesn't matter. It's fishing, right?
It's fishing.
Right.
Well, I just got a message in chat. Alicia's already got her first challenge under her belt. She's won the trash bag challenge for July.
Awesome. And how many pounds of trash was that, Elisha?
I don't even remember. You have to ask Avid. He's in
It was
there.
like 80 pounds or something, right?
No, it was more than that. Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
definitely over 100 pounds. Like I'd almost written that out of my brain because I killed my back. I'm not gonna lie. But I mean, it was worth it. Like I really feel good about the wildlife around there. I mean, you couldn't believe how much line that I got. Like I had this huge box of line because I know you can recycle it, and so I'm gonna take it to one of the centers where you can recycle it because it was just ridiculous. Like I mean, I was just pulling it up for days. Like I mean, But I mean, I found a lot of tackle as well. So there was some sinkers and some hooks, and I found some screwdrivers. I found a $1 bill. I found a brand new beach towel that smelled like laundry detergent. A net. I found a net. Like there was all kinds of different stuff that I found. So it was rewarding in that way too. But at one point I was picking every single cigarette butt up off of the bank, and my back said, no, we can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
That got to be a little much.
Yeah.
But
I think that's awesome. And Lori's here.
Hey, ladies.
Hi, Lori.
Hey.
Sorry, I was running around my area code. I have a live well going in my head all day. I've got to change that water. So I had to go get a bucket. I had to go to the pond. Racing home from work. Yada, yada, yada. But here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Yep. Miss Lori, I don't have your coffee today, so.
Don't worry, I stopped for that too before I got home.
Oh, remember the other question I didn't answer. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Avid said that Elisha collected 122 pounds.
Yeah, 122.4.
Wow.
Now that you said it, I remember. Yeah, 122.4.
All right, so Elisha, you did hook, but you've got knot and then line.
Fish. Oh wait, line was the one that I didn't know. I'm still learning where I'm at right now. All my catfish rods are set up with 20-pound mono high vis with 40 as the leader. But that's just where I'm at right now. The other thing you all asked about was the species of fish. I would consider myself first and foremost a crappie angler. I've been doing that since I quit crawling. My dad had me out there doing that, and I would catch catfish by accident, on my minnows and catch bass that way. But crappie is what I thought my first tournament would be if I ever got involved with a tournament. However, this year I got really successful with white bass. And I was getting my limit every time I was out there and then fishing past my limit, just having fun. And so I entered a tournament for that. And it rained a lot that day, like downpoured. And I was sitting there, and anybody else I saw on the bank, they weren't catching anything. So I was like, maybe I'll actually win this. I was getting really excited. I actually had something to take to weigh in. And I show up at weigh in and there was nobody there. And I was like, what is going on? And so there's like a lady at the gas station there. And I was like, why is nobody here? She said, that tournament was canceled. I said, I've been fishing it all day. I was like, I have fish for weigh-in. And so she was like, yeah, they tried to call you, but there's no service at the Salt River. So they tried to call you, and they said, here's your money back. So that was my first tournament experience.
Well, at least you had fun, though.
It was fun. And I still had, a bag.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so I
you
still
won.
win.
Yeah.
Sure.
You did win.
Yeah. Nobody beat me. That's for sure.
Right.
Did you weigh in anyway?
I did weigh it in, but I don't remember what it is. I have pictures. I'll have to make a video on it or something, because I did try to celebrate my win for myself. And I have the stringer that's in my white bass run video. That's not inside of a house. There's two stringers that you'll see. The one that's outside, I think that's the stringer from the tournament.
Awesome.
I'm super excited. I'm super excited that you decided to join in on this tournament, even as much as you were hesitant to do so, and good for you.
Yeah.
I'm super proud
I'm
of you.
excited about it.
Yeah, we got some competition up
Yeah,
here.
because me and you, Elisha, were talking about it quite a bit, weren't we?
Yeah. Yeah, and like I had not showed my
Yeah,
face.
we're talking about it quite a
I
bit.
did my video. What'd you say?
I said we've been talking about it quite a bit, so it was when you told me that you were getting in, and I was like, oh yeah, absolutely, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it was time. So I'm excited about it, and I've got this little bitty boat. I call it a glorified kayak because it's not much bigger than one. It's 12 foot by 36. By 36 inches, so 3 foot, 12 foot by 3 foot, and so yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna have 6 poles on there or not. But it could happen. You never know. Or I may be borrowing my dad's boat, or I could be on the bank. As we get closer, I'll know for sure. But
yeah, if there's one thing I know about just being in some of these tournaments and competing against both men and women, this has just been what I've noted is that the women competitors tend to be strategic to a level that makes me very nervous. Like there's they play the game,
Yeah. And we have a long time. I mean, like a month still.
Yeah.
So we have lots of strategy to come up with.
Yeah.
We got to hear from Lori.
Yeah, Lori.
Yeah.
Hook, knot, line.
All right, Lori, your turn. Yep.
Well, you all saw how I did in the non-competition, so. And I lost when my recent PB that I finally got, and then after that I had a bigger fish on the line, but my knot slipped. So that's a challenge. I'm using the 50-pound leader line, and it's a challenge tying those knots and pulling them tight. But every single time I'm out there, and this is what I really just love about it, whether I'm catching those fish or not, every single time I'm out there, and I seem frustrated, but at the same time, I'm just having the best time ever. And then I'm also learning new stuff almost every single time I'm out. So, you know, a tip was to take either 2 lighters or maybe 2, whatever, dragon demons, whatever they are, you know, wrap the line so that you can pull that tight. Versus I was using needle nose pliers versus my teeth, trying to just kind of snug that. But I also now leave a little bit of a tail, where before I was trying to cut the tail down, but I'll leave the tail just in case I do get some slippage.
It slips, yeah.
And then I have some room there for that. But, you know, and I'm still out here trying to catch fish. I mean, I don't know. I'm like, I've tried every different kind of bait that I can do. Like right now I've got live bait in there, in my live well. I got the brim in there, but the bluegill. The white perch, I haven't caught any yet.
Yeah.
Hooks, I'm still using circle hooks. I tried actually the sea hooks. I ordered some. I put one on the line the other night. I didn't get anything on it, so I couldn't tell you. That the opening is a little narrower on the sea hook, but I haven't gotten anything, so I really don't know yet how that's going to work out. But I don't know. What else can I tell you? 20-pound test. Still using that. My reels are broken. I get hooked up, snagged up, lose my weights, whatever.
We
Brad
all get snagged up.
Thank you. Brad Caudill got weights.
Yeah, we all.
One thing
I was gonna say we all get snagged up. Even I do. I think I've lost a total of 10 rigs now.
You're so far back, Kelly. Almost hard to hear.
Yeah.
You are. You're like in an echo zone way back there.
There you go. I said I've probably got 10 rigs I've lost so far.
So, Glory, your main line is how much?
I'm on 20-pound test.
And then your leader is
50.
Okay.
It's really interesting hearing how people set up their rigs. One of the things I did in the last tournament that I will be doing again is I got a pool noodle and I made about 8 rigs that I just hooked into that pool noodle, and game changer. It was like a game. I always have an extra rod, but this was like I was just flying rigs out.
Yes, that's what I need to do. That's a great tip because you know I can make them up ahead of time, but I don't really have a place to put them. Yeah. And then they're just getting snarly and snagged up somewhere, or I'm so anxious when I get there to get my line out because I have short time almost every single time. I'm never pre-planned, but that's a great tip because having that pre-made is going to be, you know, it is helpful. Yeah. Having the extra reels are helpful. Unfortunately, you know, I broke one and I happen to have a couple extra, but I had to reel them, put the line on right there on the spot. But
oh wow.
Yeah. All right, Elisha.
Yeah, I lost sound completely. A phone call came through, and I have no clue what just happened.
She had a phone, but she lost her sound, so she's trying to get back in and make sure she got sound now.
Yeah, it's all good now.
They're all telling me to sit back and just be quiet and let you all run it.
We got this.
That's right.
Hey, I can do that, Dan. Dan told me to sit back and be gangster style. Hey, I could sit back and be gangster style. It's fine with me. Let Bex run it. Bex can run it. She's doing good.
I don't know about all that. Now I'll start sweating. I was just chatting. It's just awesome.
Put you on the spot. Yeah.
It's just see everybody.
Yeah, to see everybody, to get to talk to each other face to face. You know, obviously being in the chat during a live stream is a lot of fun, but nothing beats face to face communication. And these are all women that I have come to love and enjoy watching and communicating with. So it's really cool to get to finally talk to y'all.
Yeah, I agree.
So you all,
I feel like I know you all. I watch you all the time. Yeah. Like y'all might not see me, but I'm in your all's channels and your live streams and your tournaments and stuff all the time.
Yes.
I've been trying to talk Elisha into coming on screen for a long time, and finally,
yes, it's February.
That's awesome. So are you all doing boats for the tournament? You're not Bex. Okay.
I'm gonna be Payne.
I mean, but you kill it anyway up there, so.
We'll see. It's been hard
What did you
recently.
ask?
If we're doing boats, Alicia.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
For the tournament. I'm gonna try something different. So
Whew.
because you had your boat, you were in your boat quite often there in the beginning with the boat. You haven't really been doing the boat thing too much, Shireena?
me, no, not really. The water's been too high around here, so it's not really safe with all the debris.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, in September, that's going to be a game changer anyway, because I mean, so much is going to change between now and then. As far as, like, for me, it's the heat index. You know, hopefully by then it'll not be 120 degrees and stifling.
Yeah.
Like you see me on my live stream, I'm like, I mean, I don't even 2 seconds in, I'm like, it's hot.
Yeah.
Everything from like the dynamics of the weather and the environment to like, so in DC, if you're bank fishing, you're only allowed 3 rods. So in order for me to have 6 rods, I'm going to have another female angler with me, you know? And
I was wondering about that.
yeah. So I will be having my mom who doesn't fish. She's going to, because Vonnie's out of town, so she's going to be my +1. So we call her, my nephews call her Mommy Bex. So Mommy Bex is going to be in the tournament. I don't think she's going to touch a catfish, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I haven't actually looked to see what the rules, since, you know, if he had updated it, because I think he had copied and pasted originally from the boat angling. So I haven't been back in to see and read what the actual dynamics of this tournament are, but that's good to know that you can do that. I did ask him about having a Joey.
You can have a Joey.
You can have a Jane, not a Joey. No.
A Jane, yeah. And as long as it's a female angler, they can
have a Joey. They just cannot cast it or reel it in. So they can sit there and net it for you. You have to do
I thought they couldn't
else.
bait or hook or anything.
See, and I'm wondering, like, I have a Thomas.
No, that's what I'm saying. They can't bait your hook. They can't cast it. They can't reel
So
it in.
basically, they're just
but they can,
standing there.
They can.
Well,
they can net it
for those of us who, just need, you know, the backup support for safety reasons and whatnot too, and like because PD Fishing is offered to take me out in the Santee on the boat, you know, so obviously he's not female,
Right.
You know,
I mean, that's another interesting dynamic that we all have to think about, right? That I think, I mean, everybody has to think about their personal safety, but like, I know for me, for example, I would love to, like, there are nights when I'm sitting up and I would love to go out and fish at night, but I have to really consider like my safety. And in many cases, I can't go unless someone can go with me.
And that's how I was for a while. And I've been venturing. I always said I'm not going to do the night fishing because of that. I have sketchy boat docks in boat landings or whatnot to be on, and but so far, knock on wood, you know, I've been lucky. I've been fortunate. So,
well, I have a taser with me and a broken fillet knife and a fillet knife. So, you know, like I won't go down without a fight because I fish all night, all year round by myself. But if I die, I die doing something I love, but I don't want to go out that way. But definitely going to be a fight. Yes.
I mean, I feel more comfortable in like the wilderness, you know, like I would do that. It's just being in a city. There's a whole different dynamic in a city.
Yes, that's exactly right. And I mean, I'm from New Hampshire, so, you know, the mountains, the woods, the backpacking. I mean, I could be out there for 3-4 days and never, you know, the bear, the moose. That's not even in the same realm of what we have down here in Myrtle Beach. You know, it's just,
I can imagine.
So this is a whole different thing for me. And then at night I can't really see, so I don't know if there's a gator, the cottonmouth, rattlesnake, whatever it might be, copperhead,
Nile crocodile.
Yeah, I'm glad we don't have any of that kind of stuff.
Right.
No crocodiles, no alligators, nothing like that here. But
they actually just caught an alligator out of the Chesapeake, like a little pond by the Chesapeake Bay, and like the running theory is that it was someone's pet that had just kind of been in there for a while.
Yes, Miss Becca's always supporting. We gotta give her the thumbs up for
Thank you,
always
Becca.
being such an awesome support,
Yeah.
cheering us all on.
It was great
Oh, yeah.
seeing her actually on some lives too, because
Yeah.
it's always funny hearing how someone translates from chat to like this, right?
Yeah.
And she is like, you can imagine her talking through her chat messages, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Even just the way she says hello to everybody.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
her
Hello,
little
Miss Bex.
signature hellos. Like, yeah.
Yeah, you should bring Miss
Oh, yeah.
Becca up on panel. She's one of our biggest supporters. Bring her up. Let's go, Becca. Come on up. Go, Becca. Go, Becca. Yeah, in the boat thing, with that and being in the Santee, that's going to be a whole new deal for me as well. You know, and I'm going to be very blunt here, and I don't know, I can't read chat, so probably a good thing. But you know, my concern is I'm on a boat with you know, with PD or whatnot, and what if I have to go to the bathroom? You know, what those things, you know, what if I have to pee? What am I gonna do? You know, and that's like my first thing.
Message me on Facebook and I've got you.
Well,
I think I know what Alicia's going to tell you.
If it's
But I'm telling you, it's a
the portable
no, it's
funnel,
not what you're thinking. Like, I mean, because I own one of those too. I had it for
Yeah.
music festivals. But
you still got
no, this is Alicia's own signature thing. She's had to do. The boat ramp that I go to, they took their porta potty out like 2 months ago. I have no clue. You know, I don't know if somebody stole it. I don't know if the waters rose and it floated down the lake. I have no clue where it's at. But you know, the guys, it's easy for them to just, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But the girls, you know, you have to get creative. But
I told Stevie, if we ever fish a boat tournament together, he just needs to turn around
Yeah.
because I'm sitting over the edge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's all great unless it's daylight. And
That's
Just
yeah.
you know, because nobody's gonna want to see that on my end, you know.
Well, just as long as you're not in front of the camera, I've got you covered.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
you'll still be like, you can do that right next to him and you'll be safe. I promise. But you don't want to be on camera still, because you know I'll know what you're doing. But
Yeah.
now we're
And
gonna
in
know
my
what you
head,
do.
I was thinking of getting a hula hoop, you know, and you could always run the shower curtain, maybe some suspenders. So yeah, you can hang the hula hoop off you.
These are
I
the
think
things we
that
have
would
to
work.
think about.
That would work.
oh my god,
That's amazing. That's
Yes, I
that's
think
now
that would
going to be in my not my tackle box, but my truck bed.
Yeah, I mean,
Like what
we've
my
got
boat
to
needs,
try
huh?
it. I think that's a great idea.
That's funny.
Suspend them.
I see Ace Catfishing says it's just as easy for you ladies to back up over the side. So I'm going to say to Ace, you go ahead and try that.
Yeah.
You back up over the side and you let me know how easy that is.
I have
Yeah.
to do that, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, because you kind of gotta bump yourself kind of way out there so you're not peeing in the boat.
Oh yeah.
Kelly, were you ready for this when you asked for an all-women show?
I kind of knew we would get, like what Ron says here. He says the show is kind of going off the rails. I kind of knew it was going to happen, especially when I knew Beth's going to be here, Lori's going to be here. And I know we talked about it on the night shows with Lori, so I kind of knew it was going to go off the rails.
I can't hear you anymore. I got a phone call.
Oh, yep.
I feel like
Since we're already off the rails, Ron's already put it out there. He took a poop off of his kayak.
Yeah, but Ryan has like a different kind of kayak skill that I think, you know, most of us aim for. I've seen the man kayak fishing, and I don't know how he does it. I just hope it's a sit on top kayak rather
Kevin
than
said he bought a pea palace.
Yep. That's a good idea. Chunky has that for his family too. They're like one person tent that you can get, and then you know, it can be as fancy as a bucket with a pool noodle to they actually have like things you can buy.
Yeah, Becca and I actually were we're going to do a review on one of the, you know, the funnel idea. And I used to have one hiking, they called it the girl on the go, but this is similar as that. But, you know, even that is still not an easy thing to use, you know, and it's got great concept and stuff, but it is just not the easiest thing to use. And you gotta practice, and otherwise you're gonna have a mess.
Exactly.
So yeah.
What's in our tackle box?
That's right. They wanted to know. They wanted to know.
They
what's
wanted
in
to
your
know.
tackle box. You know, these are things, especially if you're like me and you drink coffee like on nonstop all day. You got to think about these things.
Yeah.
Mark says, so a bucket is your friend, but make sure you fill it up with water first.
Yeah, the bucket and maybe a pool noodle around the top, right? What was the big thing about that?
Yeah.
What did they call that bucket? Was it Murillo that was? Oh gosh, months ago.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they went on and on about that bucket.
Becca says she was advised against demonstrating the pee funnel on the live stream. I also advise against that.
We'll just talk about it later, ladies.
Yeah, we'll have a Zoom call.
Yeah.
It's all for a different show.
I mean, I think if you're, I mean, we need to practice this and kind of like get together and figure out, you know, is the whole hoop thing going to work? What's going to happen here?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Ron says if Becca did that, she'll get 100,000 views.
More.
Or more, yeah. More.
Or she'd be banned from YouTube for life.
Yeah.
It should go viral first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with
let's try to ease our.
Sorry, Kelly.
I was gonna say let's try to ease our way back into tackle a little bit and try to get off the topic of peeing and all that stuff. And so, but talk about your line you use.
Yeah, I was just going to ask about the question that was asked about my line and my leader. Are you girls doing something different than my 20-pound test line and 50-pound leader? What are you guys using usually?
I'm 30 main line and 20 leader. Yeah.
These are 20 and 40 leader. But I don't know that that's for sure the setup I'll have, but 3 of my poles will be set up that way.
I'm lazy. I'll use the same lake pound test that I have on my main line as my leader. I am looking at, changing that up a little bit, doing a heavier leader. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
It's like if it works, it works. Why? I don't know. I've never understood the big pound test leader and then the small, main line. I've never understood that. Probably never will. I just use what I use and it works. So that's how it's going to be.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. I mean, I don't understand the concept either, or
my understanding was that it's at the bottom a lot, right? So there's all kinds of things that can rub up against your line. From an abrasion standpoint, having a heavier leader can help, but I just run my line through my fingers after I catch a fish, and just make sure that it's still in good shape and try not to test it. Sometimes I'm like, oh, could I just throw it back out?
Maybe.
Yeah, one of the things I recently did learn was, if you're because I tend to just keep recasting. If my line didn't break and I didn't need to change it, and now I'm recasting it. Maybe I'm getting gar on there. Maybe I'm getting turtle hooked up on there, and I'm not changing it. But I'm also not checking it, and that could have been part of my not slip also, But so you always want to be just checking it after every time you get a good hit or a couple good hits, and just check it.
You'll only go so long of not checking it before something happens to where you start checking it. Right. So, like,
exactly
the night I caught my largest largemouth bass that I've ever got, it was 5.5 pounds. I had my bait pole out first, and I mean, I bring big fish on this bait pole all the time, But I had one on it, and like I felt the head shake, and I was so excited. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is something big," you know. And then it broke off while I was bringing it in, and I was like, "No!" And it was well past time. I should have just changed that, you know, out on there. And then I was so upset, but 30 seconds later, on my catfish rod, I got that big bass. So like I was able to forget that one and not be as upset about losing that. But it was still that experience that it was like, no, I need to, you know, not be lazy or not, you know, like, oh, it's fine, I'll just throw it out. Like, you know, if I've caught several catfish on a line, then I want to change out my leader. Or if I've been fishing in the tailwaters and there's a lot of rocks there, you know, something like that. Like I try to. Now I'm helping you all out. Y'all are all going to go change your leaders out. And
No.
Yeah, I
you're
mean,
going to bring these fish in. Like, what am I doing?
I thought Mark said a good thing in the chat. Just to the line diameter is important for when you're spooling on a reel, right? Like you want to be able to get as much line as possible on your spool, and then your leader is about the abrasion, right? So it just allows you to kind of have a thicker line.
Well, see, I know about the reel, but as
And
a leader, I mean, you can have the 50-pound, you can have the 20-pound, you can have the 30-pound, and still break off, you know? So, I don't know. It is what it is.
yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Have you all ever thought of, I know they have them out there, Claw has them. Have you ever thought of a metal leader?
Have we ever caught anything on a metal leader?
No, you ever thought of using a metal leader?
No, I never have.
In the ocean, I used it when I was fishing at Myrtle Beach, and I've got one that's like that for crappie, just so I can have like several hooks set up, but I've never used it with catfishing or anything.
Yeah, I think it's overkill for what I'm doing.
But for gar, maybe.
Yeah. The good thing about the one that I've got, I use the Eagle Claw brand. Yeah. The good thing is it has its own weights on it. So, I mean, if you're throwing out a big piece of bluegill or something like that, a live bluegill, it's already got its weights on it. So it's going to keep it down there. But what I'll do is I'll also put a float on my main too, right above the leader, that metal leader.
Yeah.
So
I've never tried that. I'm not against it, but I haven't. Now that I'm on the boat, I plan on trying all kinds of new things.
Like, yeah, I won't go back to it, but the peeing out the boat.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shireena, were you asking what reels folks use?
Rigs.
Carolina.
That's my go-to.
Rigs.
Yeah. I've been using the Santee rig a lot, but just the other night I went out to, I fished there before, but not so much catfish, and something about the way the river works there was getting my Santee rig all in a mess. I think it was the current and stuff like that, and I had much more success with a Carolina rig on my other rod, so still learning.
Right.
And I get a lot of people in the chat in my live streams, a lot from UK and whatnot too, which is awesome. But they toss out all these different ideas, either from the ocean fishing and things that are just different there than here. And I think your rig is going to be determined by where you're fishing, just as you just said. I mean, it's all in the in New Hampshire, it's more rocky and that sort of thing. Then down here, it's not quite the same. But again, I'm new to the catfishing down here, so all of this is new for me down here with the catfishing. But the Carolina rig is that's what I learned to do, and that's just what I've stuck with. But I'm also, I think, a little bit like you, Bex, where I'm not anxious to spend the time to try to rig something new up and all that. I just want to get out there and go fishing and catch something. But eventually, I'm going to have to change things up because the normal stuff that I'm doing wasn't working. So I got to try the different stuff.
I think the chat thought I said Sandy Cooper, but I said Santee Cooper. I just have an accent.
But yeah, mine's the Carolina rig is what I've got set up right now. I'm learning the Santee just because I've usually been fishing on the bank and I'm not really fishing current much. And now that I have a boat, I can drift. And so I'm learning the whole Santee thing and ordering some stuff and going to try new stuff just because now I feel like I can broaden my horizons and, catch bigger fish and more fish and different fish. And so I do plan on having multiple setups. I feel like I can broaden my...
Yeah, I stick with the Carolina. I mean, we have some current most of the time, and it's different here too in the fact that a lot of times the top water looks really calm, but I mean underneath that is just ripping. And when you're throwing the weight out there, and then the other thing is that in some of the places I'm fishing with all the boat traffic and the wakes, so putting the heavier weight on there, the 4-ounce weight is what is keeping my line from being pushed back in every time the boats go by.
Yeah, I've had to increase my weights as well because on the bank, not in current, I didn't need much. When I was out there trying to drift with my boat, my bait is floating up behind me, and I'm like, whoa, what is that? Like, why is that not down on the bottom?
Yeah.
Learning experience.
One of the things that I found really interesting when I started doing the Santee Cooper rig was at first I was just putting like the spook right in the middle of my leader. And like watching live streams, I learned and it makes sense when someone says it out loud, right? But like you want to have it closer to the hook so that it raises more off the floor rather than kind of being like halfway in the middle, and it just kind of like flopping your bait back down.
Yeah. Yeah, and with me, I would just be setting it up from what I'd seen on YouTube, which was a little close, down closer to the hook, but I wouldn't have known why I was doing that. So thank you.
Yeah. It was like one of those moments. I was like, of course.
And we have my water. The other thing that's different for me is the tidal waters in the rivers. So everything's based off the tide in the rivers here. But also whether you're in the high tide or the low tide makes a difference on where you're placing that on your line as well. So
yeah, 100%.
The tide doesn't
not that I
affect
can
the water
say that
here.
because I haven't caught anything that way. I'm still working on it.
The tide doesn't affect the water in Kentucky, but I've done a lot of research before I got into this catfishing world of YouTube. I was just as addicted to fishing and researching and finding out stuff. But I did a lot of stuff with like the farmers' almanacs and stuff like that, moon phases, just, trying to figure out different things that would cause the fish to bite, or to not be biting. And so apparently the tide can affect our fish bite as well here in Kentucky, which is crazy to me to think, because I mean, obviously our rivers don't change, our lakes don't change. Nothing is anything different because of the tide. But I need to do a little more research into it. But I thought it was just interesting that there's evidence and proof of stuff out there that depending on what the tide is, that it's different here as well.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm guessing it's like the gravity of the moon or something like that impacting them.
Yeah. Yeah, you hear it a lot. A lot of the anglers on the YouTube, they'll talk about that, the barometric pressure, the moon phase, the tide phase. Tide phase. I don't know if that thing. It is now. We're on the tide phase.
We know what you meant.
But everybody has their different, whatever they're going by. So, so I was out there. I'm like, oh, I'm in the falling tide. This is great. And that's where I get most of the bites that I get, or the fish that I get have been on the outgoing. But then at the same time, it was a full moon. And then I had friends out on the water that said, oh, it's the full moon. And I'm like, yeah, but it's outgoing tide, So now we got like this, I'm like, this is good. No, it's bad because you got the full moon. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to go along fishing.
Regardless, the fish has to eat regardless of what the temperature is, regardless of what the moon is, anything like that. Like, they have to eat. It may be that you have to change up your tactics or where you're finding them or how to get them, but you'll be able to catch them if you fish enough, you'll still catch them regardless what the other things are changing.
I used to like overthink all of that stuff, and I still do, right? Like I'll look at the weather, I'll look at the barometric pressure, I'll figure out if the tide's coming in or going out or slack or something like that. But at the end of the day, if I have time to fish, I'm going to go out and fish.
Yeah, exactly.
I've gone out on the best conditions, right? Like, everything said that this would be a good fishing day and been skunked. And then I've gone out in the worst conditions and had my best fish. So I think just get out there and fish.
They're gonna eat when they're going to eat, So.
Yeah.
And I think
or at low pressure, it doesn't matter. So
and I think as we keep getting out there and doing it more and more, I know maybe we're not. I don't know about. I'm not writing down stuff. I'm not like, oh, I caught this fish on this day, on this moon phase, on this tide.
Yeah.
But in my head, I remember, okay, this is kind of what it was doing, or was it this hot or not that hot? I kind of remember some of those things, and I do pay attention to that going forward, because if I'm ultimately catching or getting fish on the line, on the hook, during a certain condition, then obviously that's the time I want to go. Unlike the other day, I was out there for 9 hours in 125-degree freaking heat, before I caught something. So if I pay attention to all of that, eventually I can narrow that down to a good window. But I think it's just going to take time for me to adjust to that and learn that.
Now, see, Sorry.
Go ahead, Shireena.
I do keep a journal because, like last year at this time, the temperature was the same, but the water was higher or the water was lower. So sometimes it is a good idea to keep a journal.
Yeah.
So that when it is 125 degrees, you have that from last year, and you say, okay, I'm catching this year. What was the difference? It really does help. It does help a lot.
I think there's like the only 2 times that I've like been like, oh, this is really making a difference has been one right before they think there might have been a tornado that came through DC. Right before that, we caught a ton of fish, and the barometric pressure like dropped suddenly. So we caught like 19 catfish. Like we couldn't even talk to people on the live. And then the second one would be a changing tide. So like the last hour or first hour of a changing tide, I've noticed can change the bite quite a bit. So I do pay attention to that. I was going to say that fish brain, I don't have a journal, but I do try and log my catches to the best of my ability on fish brain, simply because it includes all of that information that you're talking about, Shireena, like what's going on, what the barometric pressure was like, what the weather was like, the time of day I caught the fish, all that kind of stuff. And I'll look back to kind of like learn more about what's going on.
And see,
now, is that something you can keep private, Beck? So
say that again.
Is the fish brain something that you can keep private if you want to, so you're not sharing it? Yeah.
And
some people have it public and they lie.
It's free.
It's free.
Yeah. So I do Fish Angler. It's
free,
similar to Fish Brain, but like to get the perks and everything that you get on Fish Brain, they're free on Fish Angler.
Yeah.
And plus I'm an ambassador, so hey.
Hey, that's awesome.
But with that barometric pressure, it is important to watch that, because I don't know exactly, the way it works, but like they can breathe differently, the fish, so that will tell you where they're at, high, low, or whatever. So watch that too. I mean, those things that you think, they are important. Even if you don't understand the way it works now, and then, like I said, trial and error, you're like, oh yeah, if the pressure was high, the pressure was low,
Yeah.
That's why.
The temperature of the water.
Yeah.
Here's how I look at it, right? Like if there's a big thunderstorm coming through, sometimes I get a headache, right? Like the pressure impacts my head. Does that mean I'm not going to eat? No, I might eat. That might help, you know what I mean? But I'm not feeling my best self.
Exactly. I mean, that's
no
the way to look at it. Yeah, we have our ways of figuring things
I
out.
don't know if y'all seen who's beside me, but
I
this
did
is
see.
the future. This is the future of my fishing family right here.
Awesome.
Hey, hey, hey.
You want to say hi?
Maybe she'll be on a female panel one day.
No.
She is.
Yep.
She's on it now.
Right? Yeah. she's
Yeah.
already-
Yep. She is on now. Yep.
Our future
And that's
competition
enjoying.
right there.
Yeah.
I guarantee she'll outdo me. Won't you? Yep. Oh yeah.
That's how my
I'm
dad
just-
raised me.
I'm
To
just
outfish him.
I'm truly excited about the whole thing, and you know, I know it's a competitive thing, but I'm just thrilled to death that the ladies are just able to finally just come together, and we're all just like most of the competitions. We're all in different environments, different areas, different things that we have to deal with, at different levels of fishing, whatnot. So for me, it's just going to be a good time, and I'm hoping to stay in it, but if I don't, at least I get that first, 2 to 4 hours.
It's gonna be a lot of fun, and I have a lot of respect for all of you on screen right now. In terms of like the content you're putting out, the role models you're being, because I do think it's important. I do think representation is important, and I think one of the things I love about this community is how I have not once felt like I don't belong. Right?
Yeah.
I have felt a part of. And so I'm really excited to fish with y'all. I'm a little nervous, but it's gonna be good.
You can't be nervous. No,
I was
No,
like,
I
you're on the
am.
Potomac. What do you mean you're nervous?
I'm nervous every time.
No.
I even asked Thomas, I said, can we go to Texas?
Yeah, I've threatened to
Let's
come up there and
surprise
fish beside her.
Y'all are welcome to come fish the Potomac.
Oh
It
my
has its
gosh,
bad
yeah.
days.
Let's all take a bus there. We'll just fish alongside each other.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Wouldn't that be something if we could do that? Have a get together like that,
Yeah.
and just
So
that would be a great time.
all the
And
same
just,
water.
hey, it only takes one person to set it up. So
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, and that would be the
that's
place
all
to
we're
do it
But,
because I'd like to get on.
since
some
we're talking
fish.
about the rigs and everything,
What was that?
since we've sitting here and we kind of got into talking about the rigs, and I know you all got into talk that and sets up all that. We'll go ahead and start. What's the rods? What are our go-to rods that we like using?
I mean, I'm not really particular about my rod at this point in
Babe?
time. The only thing I was just talking to my friend Tom LG Bass the other night about that. The only thing is that when I started the catfishing, I didn't even have a rod. I was going out with somebody, and that's how it started. My very first rod is the ugly stick. The only thing I did notice with it is that it's not capable of holding the amount of weight that I'm actually tossing. And I find that it does make it difficult to cast that way. But the ugly stick is an amazing rod. It's just also a fast action tip. So as I keep getting out there and doing this, I'm learning and realizing that, when we start out, everybody says, oh, don't go and get all this stuff. But you will eventually want to be upgrading if you're starting out with these basic things. But, and so I was fortunate enough to be gifted by Aaron, Catfish Regulators, and Tom, LG Bass, the Mad Cat's rod, which I'm desperately trying to catch something on right now. I would love that. And I have another rod coming that's being gifted. So, and then I have a surf rod. So if I get on the boat, I can use obviously more than the 3, which would be interesting. But I'll always have my ugly stick out there as a backup. But for the most part, I'd like to move up and out of that just because I'm hoping to, just have something a little more sturdier than, or feel more confident when I'm casting it or reeling in, patching. I mean, that tip just goes, whoop. I was like, what was it? The Santee. I was on the Santee River down below a dam area, and I was throwing out 8-ounce weights on that ugly stick. It's not meant to hold more than 3.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I love so I think
Well,
it should
let me-
become I was gonna say it should come as no surprise. Like I love the Muddy River rod. I have the Muddy River Blue Cat rod that I love. I have a Muddy River medium casting rod. I don't use that as much yet, but that's simply because I'm still learning how to cast those big casting reels. I can do a low profile bait caster no problem, but I'm still it's just confidence, really. But I have 2 Ugly Stick Tiger Elite rods. They're pretty hard to find, but those are some of my favorite. Like I feel like I can bang those up. They're awesome. I love the wiggle wiggle, as Chunky would say, on those rods. And yeah, those can do a little bit more in terms of like a 4-ounce, 5-ounce weight versus like the other Ugly Stick rods, where I feel like if I'm casting more than 3 ounces, I lose a lot of momentum just because the rod like bends down with the weight.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And that's mine. Mine's the Ugly Stick Catfish rod is what it is. But yeah, it's just different.
Yeah.
Shireena, what do you?
I want to recognize.
What's my go-to?
Before we jump in, I want to recognize Becca and 31 for the PayPal boom. Appreciate the donation.
Boom.
Greatly appreciated.
Boom,
Becca
boom.
with
Boom,
Becca
boom,
with
boom.
a $100 donation, and 351 with a $5 donation. Appreciate you all. Definitely, that's an awesome support. Appreciate that. That's gonna help me with the channel, getting back out there, getting free for my next lives, and stuff. Definitely appreciate that.
Also, while you're pausing, I'd like to, as it's scrolling across the bottom of my screen, we do want to give a shout out to Katie. She's not feeling the best, doing the best.
Yeah, definitely keep her in your prayers. As our message on Messenger, is positive for COVID. She does have some underlying issues that she has, and at that time when she messaged us, she was just waiting to hear if they were going to admit her into the hospital or not. Right. So it's definitely, with her, it's definitely a little scary. If going to go happen with her, so definitely keep her in the prayers as we go on through the night and stuff. So, but I will try to keep everybody posted as much as I can, and see how she's doing. So who left off? We were talking, and Elisha was talking, wasn't she, about her poll?
I think Shireena was actually, but Elisha, either one.
Go ahead.
Okay, that's fine.
So since I graduated from my Barbie pole as a kid, I went to the Zebco 33 on just a Zebco rod, and I still will throw one of those every time I go fishing. I have my 3 rods actually right here with me that are my big, fancy ones, but I got the Catch the Fever Big Cat Fever rod here, and the
that's what I'm getting gifted to me.
That's what you're getting gifted to you?
Yes.
I actually got that one gifted to me from JV Outdoors when he came and fished with me. Yeah. So that's this one here. And then I've got the I've got the Uncle Lou's, and I just drew a blank on what this other rod is right now. It's the Rippin' Lips. I'm sure it's on here. Rippin' Lips Super Cat Rod, and I got that one from this great community as well.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah. Then of course the Uncle Lou's rod, which is the most beautiful rod that I've ever laid eyes on, and especially the tip when it's glowing at night. That's makes it that much more beautiful. But yeah, those are the 3 big contenders that I'll be using. I also have a big 10-foot surf rod. I probably won't be using that, but I could be. I've never actually taken it out and used it. But I've got a couple other random things that may be used. But those are the 3 that I'm definitely highlighting and hoping to catch something on.
Shireena.
Oh, whoa. No.
Shireena, yep.
I have many rods, okay, guys? And I have names for all my rods. So my favorite is, I call it Blue. And it's my Zebco Boss Hog. It's just my bait rod. I cast that one out just to see what the fish are doing, So, like I said, I throw him out and see where the fish are, and then I move to Slimy, which is my 8'6" slime cat rod with my SC 600, my loose SC 600. That one I really love because the cast is just smooth, So, but the only thing I don't like about my slime cat, it's extra medium heavy, and it's too tough for me. I want to feel that fight, and I don't really feel it with that. Because when I was bringing in my PB, which is 19.7, I couldn't really feel, it wasn't as fun as I thought it should be. Does that make sense?
It does.
So, but yeah. And the one I just lost was one of my favorites. It was my Muddy River rod. So.
You lost it?
Rest in peace, little Muddy. No, it broke off this week, and the rods are awesome, okay? And I have been getting a lot of stuff about that video that I posted. And the only reason why I posted that video, I was fishing at the time, and it happened. And I was like, I wonder if I got that on video. So that's why I posted that video. I had another one before that broke off, and, so.
Do you know what caused? Did you get snagged up, or you actually had a fish on?
No, both times it was a snag, and it broke off at the tip. But they are awesome rods. I will get another one, because they're so. I don't know if it makes sense to you, but it's beefy and light at the same time. It's it's a really nice, and it has a nice feel to it. So yeah, I'd have to say that the Muddy River is my absolute favorite. Get you one.
Redeeming herself, she says. I'm redeeming myself.
But like I said, that my reason for posting that had nothing to do with the rod being bad or anything. It was just I was fishing at the time, and it was actually if you watch it and you see my reaction, I came back and it was like I was kicking rocks. I was so sad, So I was like, yo, are you kidding me? So, yeah.
Yeah. Any rod that you break is going to have that reaction, I'm sure. It doesn't matter.
Thomas broke off his slime cat, and it was in the handle. So,
It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like turtles.
Yeah.
Got my fair share of those.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you're not the only one that broke one off. I think Palmetto broke a chunky rod.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I watched that live.
Yeah, it happens.
yeah.
I think
I
Uncle
usually
Josh
don't
lost
tip
one
on
too.
it.
I think even yeah. And then I thought Josh Parker broke one off on his live. Broke the tip off his big cat feeder rod. Getting ready for his takedown tower. At the tip off of it.
Palmetto's fixing the record that it was a 2-piece rod, and half the rod flew into the Potomac.
Oh yeah, the unrecovered half.
The unrecovered
never
half.
recovered.
Yeah.
It didn't come back like Brian B's did.
Yeah.
No, there was no return.
There was no comeback.
Yeah.
No.
Bex, I think you're the only one that didn't share your rods.
I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Bex, I have one of those.
Yeah. So let's go down. Let's go down the pole hits.
I call
Do
it
what?
February.
Okay.
I think Shireena, were you saying that you have the Ugly Stick Tiger Elite rods?
The Shakespeare Tiger.
Yeah, it's good, right?
Yeah, it's kind of flimsy for me.
It's
you
wiggle
know?
wiggle.
Yeah, and I'm like, it psychs you out. You're like, oh my god, but then it's like really small.
You just reminded me of Goldilocks with three bears. This one's too hard.
Yeah.
This one's too soft.
I am like that though.
This one's just right.
I'll be in the store and I'm like,
But
yeah, and I do
but instead of saying it's just right, it's got just all you gotta do is say it's got enough wiggle.
Is that
This one don't wiggle enough. This one wiggles way too much, and this one wiggles just right.
oh yeah. I'm in the store going, yeah.
I want to know what the go-to bait's going to be.
Oh, we can't tell you that ahead of
I
time.
know.
I was like, man.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in just a minute. We gotta finish up. We gotta do the reels first. So, Elisha, if you want to go ahead and start this one out, what is the reels that you're using now?
So I'm definitely having Zebco 33s with me because they don't do me wrong. I can't help it. But then I've got two of my rods over here. I've got the Spartacus, the Cat King Spartacus 5000 on both of those. And then I've got the Chaos 50 on the Uncle Lou's rod. And I'm right-handed, but I retrieve everything right-handed because my Zebco 33s were that way. So I change my handle around. I got to pause for a moment.
I'll be right back. I'm sorry.
On my spinning reels, I'll change the handle around so I can do it right-handed. Now I have a left-handed reel for the bait caster, but so far, I mean, it's not. I don't think it's going to be a problem because it's a whole different feel too. That big old handle, you know what I mean? It's not even the same. I don't know, like your reel's on top and not the bottom. It's just a totally different feel to hold it. So I think that it'll end up being okay. I'll know for sure when I get a fish on it. You know what I mean? Because so far I haven't. But there was a video on YouTube that was very, very easy to understand and has me casting it out without birds nesting or anything like that. And it seemed like it was very overwhelming at first. But when I watched that video, I was like, okay, I think I can do this. And, the first cast, I forgot to stick my thumb on it. And so a little bit of line started to come out, but because I had it set right, it wasn't that much line that came out. But then as soon as I was like, duh, my thumb, I've cast that thing several times now and not had any kind of issue with it. But that's the main three rods three rods that I'll be using.
I have similar reels to Elisha. I have the Spartacus, Casking Spartacus. I like casking if you're looking for a budget but decent reel. I think Chunky said one time he found some of them for $10 on Amazon, which was probably a mistake. But
yeah,
I like that. I also have the Chaos 50, and then I have a Casking Sharky, which is a bait feeder reel that I've been trying out. I haven't yet used it as bait feeder just because I haven't had that, but I've been wanting to do some surf fishing, so I got that because I felt like that would be a good thing to have, or also for carp fishing. So
your turn, Shireena.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, I know, right? So that's what I was doing. I was like, okay, what do I have? But let's see. I really like my Lou's SE 600. I like that one. And then the Casking Rovers, I have a 40, 60. I really like those. So, I mean, Catfish Pro, Catfish Special. I mean, I guess I wouldn't have them if I didn't like them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You're just in time, Lord.
Yeah, you're just in
am
time,
I up?
Lord.
Yep, just.
I was like,
Well, unfortunately, I just had a real break on me, but I went and
you're fishing now?
What's that?
You're fishing now?
No.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
Last night I went out. I went bait fishing, and I have the fish in my live well, but it was downpouring, and I mean we have wicked storms coming in, and I think it's going to be that way for most of this week. So I'm not sure, but yeah, sometimes I'll race home and I run down. If I have the bait, I'll run down and fish in the spot near my house. I have a couple spots here. Like one I was out, I can do at night and feel okay out here. But And of course I'm always out in my other spot in Johanna, which is where I've been catching most of my stuff. But yeah, the last time I was actually in my Johanna spot and my reel broke. I mean, I had a whole slew of things happening, but so I ended up replacing that with a pen because I was in, and it's just a Walmart series. So, but there was a gentleman in there that was into the tournament fishing, and he in fact, he was telling me and showed me the picture of this 90-pound fish. I can't remember if it was a flathead or not, that he caught right out of our intercoastal waterway here, which I thought was interesting. On a boat. He was on a boat. But they're in there. So that's interesting. And then LG Bass actually gifted me an Akuma Avenger, which I have on one of my rods. And to be honest with you, I'm not actually sure what I have on the third rod. Right, I don't even remember now. It might be a casting. That's the other thing I found too is what's that?
Go ahead, Lori. Go ahead.
That's the other thing I found. Like with my ugly stick, it came with a 4000 series on it, and that's something I've noticed. As I keep doing this, that I need you. It's really too small. It's not comfortable to fish with and reel in. It's just too small for what I'm doing and for the rods that I'm using it on. So going up to at least the 5,000, 6,000 series, that seems to be a lot better. And I'm getting the beefier handles, because the little rinky-dink things that, we might bass or trout fish with. It's just a whole different, the whole thing's a learning curve. For sure. But, again, coming into that, as you keep doing it, more and more of what you want to replace or change and do differently. So for me, that's part of it, the reels.
All right, Lori, you kind of already hinted on it before we started talking about the rods. What is your all's bait of choice?
We can't tell that.
So, Lori,
how are you going to do us dirty like that?
Lori, go ahead.
We are going to be in a tournament, okay? We can't get on here and tell our baits.
I can tell my bait. I tell it all the time in my lives because I use different bait all the time. I'm still trying anything I can and learn. I went from the shrimp to the squid to I even tried the glizzy. My goodness, but mostly it's the bluegill if I can get it. I've got the bluegill. I'd love to do the shad. We don't have shad here available all the time in the bait shops. And that sort of thing. And I don't do the cast netting. So until I learn how to cast net, I don't think I'm going to have the shad. So in this case, and then I'm going to also be going out on Santee in a boat. So I could have different bait there. But probably, there's some water here that eel is good. Other rivers, it's not. So, it could be a slew of things. I might even do chicken. I'm going to do whatever it takes, ladies. That's all I know. I'm doing whatever it takes. I'm taking you down.
I want to try it out.
I said shh in the chat. Here's what I'll say. You all know the baits that do well on the Potomac. But I always, no matter what, for a tournament, have backup bait. And sometimes that includes something I've never tried before. So you never know what they're gonna hit. I've had glizzy against eel, and the glizzy outperforms, and then the next week I'll have all glizzy and nothing gets hit. So for the tournament,
even I had bunker bait, which I call the man hater. Yeah, the man had, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's great here." No, it didn't work for me, and it gets mushy. That's the other thing, oh gosh, what else? I don't even know what else I use all the time. But sometimes it's a mushy fish.
I will say the salt helps a lot. I salt a lot of my baits.
So even if you have a whole fish that you're using as cut bait, you salt it up?
Only if I'm using it, only if it's frozen.
Oh yeah.
So if it's been frozen, if it's fresh, no, I'll throw it out as is. But anything that I'm bringing with me to the water that isn't fresh, I'll usually salt a little bit, a little sprinkle.
I plan on having a buffet.
Bex, I thought it was that little trick they do in this thing is they let it run down their arm, which is like a whole bunch.
Elisha, Shireena.
Yes.
Oh, hey, there's a big supporter right there. There's Real Gals Fish in the chat.
Awesome. Hey.
Let's see. I'll probably, I use worms all the time, and I catch everything with worms. So why stop at that? So of course I'm gonna use worms, and I'll probably catch me some drum, and I will try chicken. Like Bex, you never know. Try everything. I just tried this morning that Catfish Pro bait. I want to see if it's gonna work. So guys, up until then, I do my research. So I'm watching everybody.
Oh no.
Well, Jesse Outdoors Addiction just did a video with the dip baits.
Mm-hmm.
That, I have not, like stink bait, I have not used, I don't like using that stuff. But it does catch a lot of channels. So
Stevie likes chumming the water with that.
Well,
which I think is more just a good luck thing than actual working. Alicia, what about you?
Sitting down there in the water, just hanging out. It's not even bringing them
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure all I'm going to bring in is alligators if I start chumming.
And you wonder why turtles come. No, I'm kidding. So I'm going to have a buffet. If I've ever used it and it's caught a fish, it's going to be with me at the tournament. I guess my favorite, I don't know. One of my favorite live bait, we'll put it that way, is green sunfish. And I've caught my personal best bass and sawguy with it, and I've done really well with catfish with it. And it's the thing that I feel the most confident with, the thing that I've done the best with. So the lake that I fish in is nowhere near short of bait fish. There's everything you can imagine. So anything that gets put up in that cast net that day is going to be offered as well. So we have lots of gizzard shad, and we have bluegill and pumpkin seed and green sunfish, and we have things. We're not allowed to use crappie as bait here, so we have some restrictions that some of the other anglers are able to use that we can't use here, but there's plenty of things in there that we can use, and I'll stop at the bait shop in the grocery store as well. So I
have catfish in my pond right behind me. There's about a 10.5 pounder right in my pond back here.
Well, that's where you should fish the tournament.
I mean, this is where I should at least put it. I'm trying to get some bait fish out of my own pond.
I mean, that 16-inch qualification changes your strategy a lot, right?
it does.
I don't go to play. I mean, obviously, there's always going to be places where I can hopefully catch a big fish, which fingers crossed that will happen to me one day. But I pick places where I know that a lot of catfish are going to go through.
Yeah.
And that's my problem here. I don't have the option to, move around on my river much. Not being in the boat in general circumstances. If I get on the boat with PD, great. That's awesome. That's going to just give me a whole different perspective and opportunity there. But on the bank here, we don't have it down here in Myrtle Beach. When you get out there, it's usually it has to be a boat dock, and we're in the tourist town, and the boaters and the hooligans and whatnot. So, but everything's so built up here. And then, of course, there are the alligators and the cottonmouths and everything else if you're trying to walk through the woods or the marshes, Yeah. But so it gets really tricky in that sense here.
Well, I'm nervous about that. The Saturday, it's going to be, I think, probably the last Saturday before school starts. and being on a boat in the lake and that little bitty boat right there. You know what I mean? Like that's a potential, deciding factor for me of whether I actually want to go out there on it, because the pleasure boaters and the jet skis and stuff like that, I can get to rocking. You know what I mean? I feel really confident with it most of the time, but there have been a couple of occasions where, I'm like, oh, this wave might be the one that actually sends me tipped over, and I definitely don't want that to happen, or my phone to fall into the water, or, something like that while I'm out there. But,
Yeah, it's a holiday weekend, isn't it? I believe it is. Isn't it Labor Day?
Yep.
Is it Labor Day?
oh, good God. I never go on the water.
Yeah.
Labor Day or Memorial Day. What
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, my thing is with the barges. I'm not familiar with barges, so that's the only downfall with me being on the boat that I'm not too sure about. So I am on the Ohio, yeah. So
Yeah, wherever we're going, we're all gonna have to get there early.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. I know this 8 a.m. thing. And it's funny you said that about the 16-inch, because the very first, he did some tournament, and the first thing I saw, I thought it said 16 pounds. Now, mind you, my PB is still only 10.6. And I'm like, 16 pounds, forget it, I'm out. I haven't even gotten there yet. So
What
I'm
is the
glad that I went,
conversion for
I
that?
went back and I'm like, 16 inches. Okay.
Does anybody know what the conversion is about what a 16-inch catfish weighs? I know you can look it up online, but just curious what.
I have no idea.
there's like, I don't know.
Yeah, there is a way. That's
I
how
know
they
there's a few
figured
of the
it out.
guys can tell you.
The kayakers in there, like if Ryan's in here still, like he probably know better, but
Yeah,
I know,
I was gonna say Ron will know right off the hand, but it's usually the configuration is it's your length times your girth.
There's another something after that too.
I think it's length girth, because
And
it's two of them are the
800.
same and one of them is one by itself. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm pretty sure it's length girth. But
yeah.
But I know there's plenty of 16-inch plus fish there where I'm at. And then y'all better watch out for the smallest right there, because, I've got these bait poles out there too. And I'm just saying, I used my new skills, and one of them I got 2 nights ago was 0.14 was what it weighed. And that one's not the smallest one I've caught recently. So it was just the smallest one I've caught since I've got scales that are digital. So
I once reeled in a 4-ounce channel cat that was snagged on my 8/0 circle hook.
Oh my God.
I've got some they were like ounces that I caught. Let's see, one, it was a little baby blue, like this big. I don't, couldn't even weigh it. And then right after that, another one hit. I said, poor little things. I think they were lost, just learning their way. So I took a picture with them, and I called them the twins. So, but yeah, it was cute. I mean, they were
Go back to school, little
They're
fishies.
too
Go
young
back
to
to
know
school.
about being camera shy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were
Yeah,
almost.
because nobody we'll catch them before the lives, then we can't catch nothing on the live. So those little ones that don't know anything about sitting up there doing a stream, so they're like, yeah, it's like, oh, I don't think I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Another thing, I have a lot of unknowns because, again, going out on the boat, I haven't been out on being out on the Santee. It's all unknowns. But my signal also, I don't know what I'm going to have. I have battery backups. That's fine, whatever. But I'm still only running on my iPhone. And I have Verizon.
Sometimes you'll be in a place where the signal has been great for you, and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, there's a lot of things you can do to try and reset the tower that you're working from, but sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes I'm using an LTE phone as a hotspot for, a 5G phone, and it's just the way it is.
Out here, sometimes the signal can be great, and then sometimes it's not. Just like whenever we did the Iron Cat, Katie didn't have signal, and I'd had signal. So you just never know.
Yeah, just very.
Yeah, and I tried the hotspot by doing my iPad with the hotspot, but it wasn't working with the StreamYard. And I think Catfish and Coffee, Mark was saying the same thing. He had an issue with that, trying to run the hotspot.
I think that's why it's so.
but
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that's why it's so important to support. Like, if like YouTube has become my TV, right? And I will literally watch streams back to back if I'm not fishing or working, I'm watching streams. And that's why I think it's so important. If you like what a channel's doing, if you like the live streams and they're under 1,000 subs, do what you can to help them grow. Because I do think that when you have those 1,000 subs and you have the 4,000 watch hours, it is a lot easier and more consistent to stream through YouTube than it is to stream through some of these third-party platforms that we use, where you're kind of at the mercy of the connection that's happening at that time. And I did just want to give a shout out. Yeah. I'm going to try not to get emotional right now, but last night Chunky basically let me know on a stream that he's giving me 2 Chunky cat rods, custom from him, one to use and one to give away when we hit 1,000 subs. And the community here jumped in with other giveaways for us to do when we hit 1,000 subs. And I just, like, that meant that I was just sitting there crying while watching the stream.
You guys are well deserved for that. You put on an awesome, fun show. Your enthusiasm is always on point. Really, really awesome. And that's what makes that channel grow. You're putting that in there just almost natural. It's just naturally. Yeah. You're not putting that. You can tell it's not an over effort for you. It's just natural for you guys. And
just fishing with my friends.
I remember when I first saw you, I was like, wait a minute, where'd she come from? Now I'm hooked.
Well, right back at you, and I promise to pay it forward. Like, this community honestly means the world to me, and
look how fast you've grown. That's impressive.
Thank you.
Impressive.
Thank you. I'm gonna get emotional again. So next question.
Aww. I heard them pushing you. I was on a couple streams, I think, last night, and I lose track of my time because I've been full on. Here I'm like the catfishing is boring lady, but I'll tell you what, I'm out here. Yeah.
I remember that. It was like, what?
Yeah. So, but don't be fooled. Even if I'm not live, I'm pretty much fishing, thinking about fishing, preparing to fish. Bait fishing. I'm out here doing something, but anyway, I happened to be in a couple of streams. I think just short time last night, and they were pushing you.
It was amazing.
Paying services with Steve must have dropped your link every 5 seconds. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, well, what's going on? And then I realized they were really pushing your sub count up there, and that's awesome.
It was, yeah. I mean, where else do you find that people are just so willing to, with no prompt, help you out? It's few and far between in the world that we live in today, and I don't know. It really meant the world to me, and Steven was at the beach. I know it meant a lot to him too. And like I said, I promise to pay it forward as much as I can, because I think we got a good thing going on here.
That's awesome. You do. Yeah. And, I was feeling the same way. I don't have that benefit with you, like you with the sub counts. But for me, I mean, this community has gifted me so much and has been supporting this adventure of mine, still supporting me as I'm still trying to get over that 10 or 11-pound fish, but with the gifts that, my friends that I didn't have, I now have actual friends on here. Some I've met, some I haven't. But the gifting of reels, the gifting of rods, the rod I have coming from a gentleman who only just started following my stream. It's just, and JB with, having that, the other rod that I had, the custom rod, it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. And same thing. It's an emotional thing because that's that community coming together. And so, however, but just being there for you, with me out there, I'm just like, why do you even come in? I'm not catching anything and I'm getting discouraged, but God, it means so much to have everybody just in there and supporting.
And watch you dance.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Oh, you saw that?
yeah. I mean, a perfect example. I mean, a perfect example of our community is how they got in with Dan when he was trying to do the 24 thing for and his wife. Avid and did an update for me that Randall's wife will be having surgery Monday morning.
Mm.
So they are going in and have surgery Monday morning. So that's another one that we definitely need to keep in ours is both of him and his wife. But we have a late incomer coming in.
Amy.
What's up, guys?
Hey,
It's Jennifer Nettles.
Hey, it's me.
how's it going?
I wish. It's going
You
great.
remind me
I'm
of her.
sorry I'm late, but I get better late than never, right?
It's true.
Right.
The not champion has arrived, guys.
Right.
Yes, I'm just glad you were able to make it at all.
Yeah. Well, I had a meeting that my daughter decided to play soccer this year, so I'm almost 50 years old and have just recently become a soccer mom. So go figure. I'm a football mom. How in football?
But since you're here, yeah, football mom. Since you're here, you kind of go through what kind of tool you'll be using.
I'm sorry. Could you say that again?
So do you want to run real quick through what kind of tackle you're using?
So, I will be using, sorry about that. Are you talking about for, just regular, like normally, or, I mean, I'm sure my
regular use.
My tackle box probably has the same thing that everybody else is got in their tackle box right now. You know, I've converted to circle hooks just like everybody else. And, you know, we've got my husband, you know, we share tackle. And so he's on the Mad Cat rods right now. But if you have heard me, any of the, and Pissy Fun, Chaos 50 is the go-to reel right now for me. But I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. I love to fish for action, and a lot of times that's just, hey, I'm a dink fisherman. I like it, you know, especially if I've only got a couple of hours, and you know, we've all got those go-to spots in our back pocket that we know we can go throw a line in the water and catch some real quick. Maybe, you know, I might just want to go grease a skillet and don't feel like laying fish out and thawing, right? So if that's the case, I've got no shame in telling you that I've got a little $25 reel that came from Walmart, and it's nothing for me to just throw a hook on it and a float and go suspend it in the river and just catch a few. I think that's still fun too. So, I mean, I've got high-end gear and tackle that we use, but hey, I've still got the Walmart clearance stuff that's, you know, that I'll throw on a line and just go have fun with.
Heck yeah.
Yep.
All my hooks come from Walmart, so
Right?
I mean, why not?
I wish
Don't
I could
sleep on
say that, but
Walmart.
right now my Walmart has no tackle. Like anytime I go into Walmart, there's nothing. Well, that was a real problem, you know, in our area as well too. And I think a lot of that, most places get their tackle from wholesale from the same place. A lot of that was overseas. I think there was some issues with that for a little while. We saw that at Catapalooza when there was a lack of vendors because they couldn't get their supplies to set up. And I think that's turning around now. I'm excited about that too.
I have like a 3-aisle radius around the fishing stuff at Walmart because one of the things that I found is when it gets ransacked, people will just leave stuff Very
Yeah.
close, but not in the fishing area.
Yeah,
Right.
they tuck it in
Sometimes you can-
behind something.
Oh,
Yeah, you can find the stuff you're looking for if you just spread out a little bit.
Yeah, but when those hooks are there, I just take
Yeah.
them off.
Yeah, has had a point there. He said he used to shop at Walmart all the time, but since the pandemic hit, he started going online, and now he only uses Uncle Lou.
Uncle Lou is awesome, right?
100%.
I gotta hook up with Uncle
yeah.
Lou for some hooks, I think, because that's the problem I'm having. Getting the hooks or finding the hooks, and I did hook up with Brad for the weights, so that was awesome. Because finding the weights around here is insane. I mean, if you go up to the pier, it's set up for ocean fishing.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, once I get through my like supply of Gamakatsu, I'm checking out Uncle Lou.
I love my Gamakatsus. I do. I mean, and I just recently got the Eagle Claw sea circle hooks, but the feel of them and the look of them, it's not like those. It's just different. But and I'm not paying. I don't think we're paying that much more really for that brand. So to me, it was worth it if you can find them. And the hutch falls out for the crowd.
Well,
But yes, Uncle Lou, I
here's
have
your question. Has says, what is your bucket list fish?
I'll tell you what, that bowfin
What
I caught,
fish
I
is
don't care what
bucket?
people say about bowfin. That thing, I loved it. I really want to catch another bowfin. I just thought that was a great fighting fish. It was feisty. It was odd. It was just, I don't know, everything about it was exciting. I really enjoyed the bowfin.
I would love to catch a bowfin. For me, so I would love to catch a blue cat over 12 pounds. It seems that whenever I cast out for other people, they catch a bigger fish. Like I'll take my nephew out and I'll cast for him, say, hey, reel this in. He gets a bigger fish than me. So a blue cat bigger than 12 pounds. And then I'm really big into like I would love to travel internationally to catch fish. So like an arapaima would be amazing. I think that is a beautiful fish, and what an accomplishment.
I don't even know what that is. I'd have to Google it.
Look it up. It permanently damaged Jeremy Wade's heart when he got hit by it. So.
Yes.
Wow. Well, mine is a 70-pound blue. No, it's not. It's a 70-pound flathead. Sorry. And I'm gonna get that during the tournament, guys. So
Get them.
Ooh.
Go big or go home.
Oh, she's already done throwing it out there.
Okay.
She's done throwing it out there on
that would be
for the
nice.
Shireena keeping it real.
Yeah, right?
Exactly.
Get you some.
But yeah,
Nice.
I would love to catch a flathead, 70-pound flathead. But
I'd love to
It's
catch
coming.
anything 70 pounds.
yeah,
Yeah.
I see all those fish that
Absolutely.
you guys catch up there. It's like, wow. It'd be awesome.
I don't know. I got the Potomac River itch is what I got. So I'm dying to try it out.
Yeah, we were talking earlier. We need to get a bus and head over there
Right?
and fish with Bex.
Oh,
third-
man. If we get on a bus, we're probably never going to get off it to go fishing. Party bus! Party bus!
Yeah.
Woo, woo.
Okay. Donations. That's what it's going for tonight.
Yes!
Yes.
Get together.
Yes!
The ladies Potomac River meet and greet bus.
Yes!
Yes.
That's doable. That's doable. Yeah.
Has Lori's got a question for you? Says, do you fish that pond behind you? It looks like a good bass spot.
It's just it's a good sized pond, and like I said, there are catfish in it. Now I don't know if there were catfish in there originally, or if it's because my neighbor dropped a few in there. But yes, I've had Mom out here, and we've thrown some bait rods out there and tried to catch some bait. And I was teaching her how to, to run that smaller rod, and just having a good time out here. But I've never actually pulled anything from it. But that's what I was saying. I should get out here and try some bait fishing. I like the rivers, but yeah, here there's a lot of these retention ponds, and some of them are tricky to fish because of the turtles. This one has a lot of turtles, and it gets very aggravating to fish around the turtles, and sad actually when you actually reel one in and it swallowed your hook and just a mess. So I don't do a lot of fishing here. But yes, I do fish ponds, just not this one.
Gotcha. Well, I'll get to the most question I usually always ask everybody on our show is, what if somebody's trying to get in, especially since this is a all women's tackle talk. If another female angler is trying to get into the sport, what is to them when it comes to tackle?
What was what?
Our advice.
What is your advice to them
when it comes to tackle?
I think it's just keeping it simple, and I think a lot of people talk about that on YouTube. Yeah. You hear it a lot. Keep it simple because you're learning. As you keep doing it, you're going to know what you need and don't need. And even after hearing everybody say, just keep it simple, I thought I needed all these other things I picked up here, there, and everywhere. And now they're sitting in a little bucket somewhere. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to need the slide sinkers or whatever it is. I might somewhere someday. But for the most part, it's very simple tackle for me. I've got my main line, my leader line, a weight, a hook, sometimes the bobber, sometimes, a rattle. It very simple.
I think a lot of
Walmart
that too.
Rod and everything from Carolina rig.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's going to depend on what body of water you're fishing too. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're just going to be fishing a family pond or a local river, or if you're going to be fishing a big body of water with a lot of current, it's really going to depend on what tackle you use. It's going to depend on what you're fishing or where you're fishing
or what you're catching too. I mean, there's places that just don't have 70, 80 pound fish every day, and you're not going to be catching that. Maybe you're only catching 10 pounders all the time. And
right. And
so
if
that
you're
makes a big difference too.
Right. And if you're just starting to fish, if you're going to sit and wait for a 70 pounder and that's what you're fishing for, you're probably not going to pick the sport up. You're probably not going to fish very long. Right. Because that's patience and that we acquire, after fishing for so many years.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell y'all the truth. I still can't sit and wait for those big ones sometimes, I still got a pole out there trying to catch the little ones.
I would say search specific, right? Like YouTube is an incredible resource, and there are thousands upon thousands of people uploading content specific to your area. So like you can definitely search on Google like the best catfish rig and best catfish gear and all of that. But if you can watch someone catch a fish on your local river or your local ponds, to me that was a game changer, right? So it wasn't watching like the big guys do their stuff, though I love that too. It was, watching people, the channel has 100 views, showing something off, and that was a game changer for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's a true good point too. You know, watching the local, and that's what I loved about that is, you know, trying to find the people that are local to me, and learning that and learning the areas and picking up different, you know, things that people are saying. Whether I'm in like the other night in Walmart, you know, and I had that guy running all this stuff by me. You know, I listen, and I can maybe pick some of that up. But Michael Morello, I would share my tackle with most anybody. I mean, I'm on the bank and I gave my bells away to total strangers. I actually had one of my spiral rods. It was a smaller one that I had picked up online by mistake, thinking it was a bigger one. And I had some people out there the other night and asking me about them, and I gave them the small spiral rod that I had, rod holder rather. So I give I'm happily, oh yeah, here, take these. You know, a friend gave them to me. You can get them online. Here you go. Try it out. See if you like it. Here's that spiral rod. Yep, picked it up over here. You know, they have them in the store. Try it out. If you like it with your little bait rod, go for it. Have it. I mean, I'm not going to give you my big ones.
I don't have a specific YouTuber that I would smack their hand, but I will say that I see a lot of folks out there disrespecting the fish or the environment. Right? I can't think of a specific person, but there's definitely been videos where I've watched it. It's just not how we should look after our waterways and or the fish that we love catching. So I think, you know, look after your fish, look after your waterways, and we can continue to do the things that we love.
That's a good, I was watching, there's a channel I do watch, and I think it's Deepak, and they're a boyfriend and girlfriend team, and they do a lot of competition bass fishing. And they had a gentleman out there that would go out and instead of putting the bass back in the water, which I guess in this particular place that they fish, you are not allowed to keep them. But he would take them out, not only take them out and keep them, but he would be killing them on the bank, smacking them on the head, and just leave them and just be, it was awful, you know. So, but they finally caught up with him and they put cameras on him and finally caught up to him. But what a horrible. Yeah. And then they throw it back in the water after he killed it. What's the purpose of that? So.
DMV said he wouldn't. Haslock would smack his hand next time he touches his fishing rods.
Do we have any questions from the chat? I mean, I can't see the chat, so I don't know what's down in there.
I'm watching for all kinds.
Yep.
A few of those questions were chat questions.
Oh yeah. I mean, for the most part, people are watching us on the live, so they're asking those questions, or they're getting their answers because they come in and following us. So I think that's part of the lack of questions. It's not like we haven't been seen.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if y'all have any more questions or anything, make sure you put it in the chat there. That way we can ask them anything about their tackle or anything that they're using. One thing is on your tackle is, what are you putting your tackle in?
That's a great question. And again, another place that you could spend money on. You know, I started with just my backpack. And I thought that was going to be a great thing. And then, of course, you grow your gear, not just in your fishing gear, but then you have your filming gear or you have all this stuff. I bring a chair. I'm going to sit out there. You know, it depends on where I'm fishing. Obviously, you know, the bank that I'm often doing my live stream on, I also have a 10x10 Xplora canopy I put out there. So, you know, it's all depending on where you're going, I think, as to what you're putting your tackle in. But a lot of times I'm in a spot where I can just pull up and leave my stuff right in my car, and I might just have a regular tackle bag. But generally, I have the plastic box, and I don't even have it in the bag. I just take my plastic box and my stuff out. But I started out, like I said, with all this tackle that I ended up not needing. So I had all this tackle, and I was bringing all this weight. And as I keep going, I'm learning more and more of what I don't need, and swapping things out and putting in the stuff I do need and do use.
I will say I have 3 backpacks, right? So like, because I had that same problem, I was carrying around every type of gear for any type of fishing. And that gets heavy, especially when you add lead to the equation. So I have like a catfish bag, or what I call just like my like cut bait, you know, rigging up type bag. I have a panfish bag that I'll usually also include some of that catfish stuff in, just in case I want to use live bait, but just a small amount. And then I have a bass bag. And I'll just pick the back. All 3 backpacks are in my car, but I'll just pick the backpack based off of what I'm targeting that day. And then I have a lot of like the what are they called? I think it's pronounced plano, but like just like the tackle boxes that I'll just configure for what I'm fishing for. But I have too much bass stuff. That's the one thing I'll say. I went crazy on bass stuff early on.
Amy?
Well, most of the time when we fish from the boat. So we've got little boxes that we've got different things organized in, and I think the bigger question at this point now is, what do we pack our electronics in? Not our tackle. So,
Right.
Yeah, that's a real struggle. It seems like that the electronics are just growing and growing and growing, and that's been our biggest learning curve anyway.
Yeah.
So I still have so much more to learn there, but you know. But I hate to do this, man. I appreciate you inviting me on and y'all spending just a little bit of time with me this afternoon. I am going to have to jump off, and we're still sitting in town, so it's getting a little stuffy in the car. And but hey, thank y'all for having me. Hopefully I can share with y'all again soon. And I love hanging out with y'all. I love watching y'all. Y'all ladies rock. And
Awesome.
I find it a privilege just to even get to sit on the same panel with you. So I admire each and every one of you. I look up to each and every one of you. And I know that y'all are already doing awesome things, but I know you're going to do so much more. And I'm grateful that I'm going to get to witness that. And I keep y'all in my prayers. And I just love the catfishing community. I'm glad to be a part of it.
Nice.
Nothing
Right
but
back
love,
at you.
y'all. Nothing
Be
but
safe
love.
out there.
All right.
Yeah. Appreciate you. Shireena,
all right.
I know you kind of threw up your bag there for a little bit. Kind of talk about your bag there.
Well, this bag over here, it was hard to condense my 3 tackle bags. Plus, I have a little cart. It's like like if you get like a Barbie pole, they have that little tackle box. Well, that's my cart box.
Mm-hmm.
So I have all those that I had to condense down into one little backpack. So yeah, it's tough because, being multi-species, one day you might want to go out, catch catfish and, catch bluegill, catch carp, all at the same time. How can you fit all that into one thing? So it's hard to do. But like Lori was saying,
Yeah, it is.
I don't know if you guys saw that post that I made one time on Facebook. All that tackle that I had on the table. Well,
Yeah.
I've had to reduce it to just my tackle box, this little box. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's hard I know I'm close to the house when I'm fishing most of the time, but still, I don't want to leave my rods down there to come to the house and just get a couple weights because I'm breaking off all the time, you know, due to the snag. So you got to think, okay, what do I need more of? You know, so like this morning I was fishing and I'm running out of sinker slides. So I was like, okay, I'm either going to
I have sinker slides for you.
Huh?
I could send you some.
Oh, awesome.
The sinker slides I don't use, I should send them to you.
Oh, wow. That would be great. Because I was thinking to myself, I was like, okay, I'm either going to have to try not to break off or learn to tie a new rig without the sinker slide. So, you know, it's a struggle to what to put in your bag sometimes. And as far as like bait too, you know, I see all you guys with your carts and everything, you know. I mean, I've got cart bait, I've got worms, I've got cut bait, I've got, you know, everything. And how to transport all of that, because the different temperatures, the different, you know, stuff like that, it's hard to do.
Yeah, and when you start lugging the live well, there's another, you know.
Yeah.
It's great if I'm out going to my drive-up spot, but if I have to go down into a boat dock and now I'm making 3 or 4 trips to the car, it's a pain in the ass. I mean, pain in the butt.
Yeah, and that's another thing with the boat. Like, I'm going to go out on the boat during the tournament. Okay, if I'm at the bank, I can have a plethora of things, you know, but when I'm in the boat, I got to limit myself to the bait that I carry if I want to use cut bait, you know, the temperature, like I was saying, or I'm going to have to try to catch some. So there's a lot of, you know, things you have to consider from bank to boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially if on the boat, if you don't have a live well on your boat.
Yeah, and that I don't. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things I like about these tournaments that are online is that, especially with releasing the fish, like I always was a little bit nervous about the catfish tournaments in DC because I don't want to stress the fish too much, right? Like if you're going for the biggest fish, right, that you can possibly get, if you catch that early on in the day, you're keeping that in whatever live well you've created for 8 hours, you know? And I just didn't like that. But with this one, I can measure it, weigh it, put it right back into the water. I saw Mark ask a question about like what draws you to fishing. And like one thing I do want to say is that like, I feel like I spent most of my life either running to or running from something. Whether it be fears, anxieties, or things that I look forward to, right? Or things that I want in my life, whether I think I'm not making enough money or I'm not happy with where I live or whatever it may be. And one of the things I love about fishing is the serenity of living in the moment, right? Like I actually, for the few hours I'm out there, it's one of the few places I don't check my phone regularly, you know. I'm not stressed about work. I'm either casting or sitting there enjoying the nature around me. And that has been a game changer for my life, especially during this time when there's not a lot we can do outside or around people, you know, being able to get out there and fish. So that's it for me. And the only reason I have technology out there now is because I want to share the joy of fishing with other people, right? Like I'm literally like, I want to record this because I just think it's so special.
Oh yeah.
Michael Murillo's question there, I just wanted to answer real quick too for myself. I don't know if you follow Clearwater Charters, but Lindia, not catfishing, but man, does she hit those bass! I can tell you that. And oh my God, what a fun thing to watch. I don't get to do it very often, but I enjoy that because again, I did always enjoy the bass fishing and the trout fishing and just the excitement of that. And of course it is the video, but oh my gosh, it's like bam, bam, bam. She's just hitting it. And that's a good time. I enjoy that. And she's a woman. But also to touch on what you were just saying, Bex, getting out there in the fishing for me, when I was in New Hampshire, I was able to do all my hiking and my kayaking, and I did my hunting. You know, I would always just out active, but a lot of hiking. So when I came down here, I had to find a new niche. So at home in New Hampshire, at the time there was a lot of talk about going out on a trip to go out to see some family and do some catfishing, and it just kept getting mentioned year after year, and we never did go. And I'm like, yeah, okay, catfishing, whatever. Because in New Hampshire, it's hornpout. We just didn't. It wasn't a thing that we did. But I was like, oh, you got to go out and do this catfishing thing. When I got here, and the first time I'm like, oh, wow, you're catfishing, and that's cool because that's what we were talking about in New Hampshire, and so it just rolled into that. I did find my archery range. Of course, I do have my gun range. I haven't been to because, again, it's 100 degrees out most of the time. But the catfishing has been an amazing savior for me. The YouTubing, being either watching, supporting, or being on it. It's such a release, I guess. Just like Beck was just saying, just that. Okay, I'm home now. I'm gonna go do my thing, and I have something to do other than sitting on a pier drinking my beer. I can actually now go out, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to running home and changing the water in my bait tank. That was my deal tonight, and so it's and the interaction with everybody and the friendships that I've made. It's priceless. It's absolutely priceless.
Hey, Elisha.
Hey, so is the truck running too loud?
I don't hear it.
I hear it.
Shireena, Beck, who's your biggest influence, fishing influence?
Probably
You
Luke
asked me?
Nichols. Oh, I thought you said, I didn't hear who you asked. I'm sorry. Were you asking me?
Who is your all's biggest fishing influence?
Yeah, so Luke Nichols from Catfish and Carp. Probably the one that really. I mean, I used to watch. I can't even think who. I don't know, fishing shows with my dad and stuff like that all the time. I mean, my dad was the one who taught me, so he should be like my big hero, my big fishing influence. But he actually wrote Luke Nichols a letter at CatCon in 2020 and told him that him and my dad were my two big influences as far as fishing. But he's the one who, I guess, reintroduced my passion as an adult for fishing. And I found him on YouTube, and he made catfishing make sense. Like I knew crappie fishing and a little bit of, bluegill fishing and those kind of things. And he made it to where I was actually successful with catching cats. And he has really good family content and good videos, and then got to meet him in person. And so I'd say it'd be him.
I don't know if I can.
Shireena?
Go ahead, Shireena.
Well, let's see. It started with, I know he's much older, but I wake up on a Saturday morning and watch Bill dance. I mean, he's way back. But I mean, growing up, Elisha, you can probably remember watching Bill dance. Did you? Yeah. And then after that, I would have to say Steve Douglas, of course, and Dieter. So
this is a tough one.
Who had the theme song? I'm sorry. Who had the theme song that said, "The yard needs mowing"? The Gone Fishing song. Come on, y'all know what I'm talking about. No. What is his name? It'll come to me. Go back. So sorry.
That's one thing.
I love his theme song, but I can't think what his name is right now.
Oh gosh, I can't think of it.
I feel like this is a tough question for me because it's like kind of a mix of everybody, Like I feel like anybody that, whether it's watching a YouTube, like obviously I love Luke and Catfish and Carp and like even his outdoor boys stuff. Like I demolish that content. I could watch it all day. But I also, like I was saying earlier, like being able to like, search engine optimization and being able to search like a particular lake or river on YouTube and find local fishermen and women, doing their stuff like that. But I guess if I was going to say the biggest influence would be my nephew, simply because he's the only reason I'm fishing right now. I would not be fishing if he didn't ask me to teach him how to fish.
And yes, it was Bill Dance, Elisha.
No,
Bill Dance.
that's not the guy that I know. Bill Dance, like I'm kissing the fish. Like I know Bill Dance. Like
The song that you're talking about?
yeah, it's not Bill Dance. I can picture him. He's yeah. It'll. I'm cheating. I'm looking it up, but because it's killing me that I can't remember what it is. But yeah, no, it's not him.
All right. Next question from Dane Creations. It says, are y'all going to scout new territories before the tournament or go where you're comfortable?
I found his name. If you want me to tell you before that, Hank Parker.
Sure.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah. That question. I'm actually going out tomorrow and Thursday to check on the Ohio, see how, find me a spot to see if I can really handle, it out there.
Yeah, for me, it's I don't know if I'll be doing new areas so much, but there's places I've fished that I haven't gone live from that I'm considering that I just need to figure out if my signal's gonna work.
Yeah, that's another thing, figuring out signal too.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in a whole new situation, so I'm going to be on uncharted water, uncharted ground, or boat. Whole new situation for me. So, again, as much as it's a competition, I'm just thrilled to be involved in the lady angling part of it. And, so if I can't hang in there, I can't hang in there. I'm just going to be thrilled to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I'm not overly competitive type. I want everybody to be a winner.
So that quote I read the other day, I think I shared it in chat, that like, you can't compete with me because I want you to win too. And I know that sounds like cliche, but it's true. Like
That's
I get
like our
excited.
trash talk the other day.
Yeah, I was like, I get excited when someone catches a fish. Like,
yeah.
So.
Right.
And then Daniel knows my answer.
I noticed that in a lot of the.
What'd you say?
I said I noticed that in a lot of the iron cats, it's always rooting for the other person that hasn't fished anything yet.
Yeah.
Haven't caught anything yet. They're like, come on, that person catch one. Come on. Like, we're always rooting for that one that just has been sitting there for the whole time.
Yeah.
Hey, I went 39 hours without catching a fish. So, hey, I caught one catfish. So, hey,
Yeah.
I mean, you watch my lives every time. I mean, I'm hardly ever catching, but I'm having a great time. So
just happy to be doing. I was happy to be doing it. I always say you have to be there to. Let me see. It's more than just the thought of winning. Just be there.
Be present.
Yes.
Be in the moment.
With that Iron Cat, I didn't think about winning, okay? I was there to accomplish a goal because I hadn't been fishing at night, and I wanted to make it through the night, and I did. The rain, I didn't like the rain. I made it through the rain. Everything happened that night, happened throughout that tournament, and I conquered those fears. I, achieved those goals, and that was the most important to me.
Yeah. Elisha, you didn't get to answer the scouting question.
Yeah.
What is now?
So, sorry.
So no, you're fine. I was just saying that Daniel already knows my answer, but since you all probably don't know, I've already started scouting new areas. But I've got my areas that are tried and true, and I know I can be successful in, so they're in my back pocket for sure. Definitely trying out Ryan Bort's area and trying to get on some of the fish that he gets. But yeah, I'm dedicated to putting in more time fishing this month than I usually do, and I already fish a lot. So I plan on trying all kinds of different techniques and different areas and and stuff like that. So luckily on my lake, a majority of it, my cell phone service works. A lot of services don't work, but mine does. There's one area between Ryan's normal spot and my normal spot that's a not great area, so I have to keep that in mind if I was thinking I was traveling up and down by boat, but yeah, I'm definitely scouting different places. And I've talked to Kelly before, like I need to go to the Ohio River. I want to fish the falls of the Ohio sometime just to see what's up there. Who knows, maybe I'll go up there and start catching good fish and choose to fish up there. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm rooting for you. I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
I'm just excited that you're bringing yourself out here. Like you said, you haven't really been on screen. You haven't shown yourself out here. You've been in our live chats. You've been supporting, and now you're coming into this side of it. Kind of like the same thing with me. I was always supporting. I still support. But yeah, and the same thing. I'm fishing. Everybody sees that I'm out here. I'm fishing a lot more. I'm putting in the time. I'm still putting in that effort. But for you, I'm excited for you to be coming out onto the side. So I think that's a whole awesome adventure that I'm excited to support you in.
Thank you.
And I will say that's why I was saying I was nervous earlier. I mean, like Shireena, you played the game of that tournament. You won that tournament. You know what I mean? The game was to who can last and stay fishing the longest, and you won it. And I think that there's going to be a lot of that from these female anglers of just really being strategic about what they do and where they go. And I think it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah. It's going to be fun, guys.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. I wanted to do that tournament too, but I was too scared to be on camera. You know what I mean? So props to you for getting on there. But I really wanted to, because I fish marathons. I fish overnight. Like I'll go fishing in the afternoon or evening, and I'll be there, and then I'll be like, well, I want to fish the night bite, and then I'll be there all night long, and then like, oh my gosh, the sun is about to come up, and so I'm like, well, I got to fish that morning bite, and then I'll get into them really good, so I don't want to leave, and then I'm like, well, it's not that hot out here today, or it's overcast. It's not so bad. Like, I mean, I just keep going. So like, I could have done that iron cat. I could have been up there, at the end with you two, and just been like, I'm still fishing too, whether I caught one or not. But it took me a few months, but I'm finally out here.
I'm kind of like with Shireena with the personal challenges, and for me it was the night fishing, especially out here where I'm in Sketchville. Most of the time I'm out here, so for me that was the challenge, to get out here and live streaming while doing it, even though it's a how do you say that? You're feeling like you're kind of with people and it's a false sense of security.
Yeah.
But it is a sense of security, and if you watch some of my live streams, like with Becca, she'll come in and always supporting, but they'll stay in that live with me until I literally pick up my tripod and walk everybody to my car, but and being out at night, and because everything I do, I'm by myself. I don't have the luxury of having a fishing partner, whether it's male or female. I don't have that luxury. So everything I'm doing, I have to do it by myself most of the time. So that's the struggle for me. And so every little thing I do is a challenge, a personal challenge.
Yeah.
That's a tough question, fishing in freedom.
Yeah.
The question is, ladies, if you could only fish for one species for the rest of your life, what would it be? And you can
if
only
I was
pick
in New Hampshire, it would be bass.
Bass.
Yeah. I mean, I had a great time bass fishing in New Hampshire.
That's tough because I haven't caught them all yet. So.
Right.
Because I'd love to catch a bass. I've caught bass.
But with what you have already caught, which one? For all with the species that you have already caught, which one would you go after? Which one would you pick?
For the rest
I'm
of
excited
my
to
life.
I'm excited to get anything really on my hook. Even the gar, as much as I hate reeling in those gar, you know, and everybody says, oh, gar are hard to catch, and especially on the circle hooks. I'm like, oh yeah, how come I caught two of those things, you know?
They're fun
it's
to
just,
catch.
you know, just the fact that I set the hook on them, you know, even though I had a circle hook, I set the hook on them and I reeled it in. And thankfully, one of them came off by themselves, because the very first gar I had, and I grabbed hold of it with my bare hands, and it was slimy, and it was like snake-like, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. And so sure enough, the second one, I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to touch this thing. I'm not touching it.
Have you ever caught an eel? Because that's a different kind of slime.
No, but I went to the bait
yeah.
shop to get, I went to the bait shop not only just a few weeks ago and got live eel, and the guy went to go put it into an ice bag for me, because I'm like, he goes, do you want them live? And I said, no. I said, I want to get them from you live, but I don't want them to be live when I get to where I'm going. So we were actually putting them on ice, but the eel didn't make it in the bag. And they were slithering all over the place on the bait shop floor. Oh my God! And those things are so slimy, and even frozen. If you get them frozen, and they're still slimy. But somebody in my live stream said that try using a paper bag, which I haven't done yet. You know, but try using the paper bag to kind of hold them and.
I don't think I've seen one in real life.
They're disturbing, but fantastic bait. So for me,
it's hard.
Now, Bex, aren't you in like the snakehead area? Isn't that where?
I've never caught a snakehead. I try, but I can't get one. So one day I will. I'll figure it out, and once I figure it out, it will make sense to me. But catching that first fish is always like. That's the moment, I think, where you kind of like, oh, I get it, or I understand what I was doing and stuff like that. And you can go from there. I think if you told me I could only catch one fish ever, it would be some kind of panfish is what I would go for, because I feel like, to me, yes, I want PBs, and yes, I want to catch the biggest fish and stuff, but I really just enjoy going out fishing and catching fish. So
that's me.
That's what I choose.
Yeah. I'm not so much into the PB thing right now. That's because I'm here. I'm down here. This is what we're into, is the catfishing. And so, and I know those big fish are out there, but I'm happy to have any size fish on my line. Really, honestly, I get so excited. I'm like, oh my God, I got one. But yeah, my current PB that I just recently got was 10.62, 10.61 or something. The question being asked. So, and that was a blue, and I seem to catch a lot of blue cats, and those are where you're getting the sizes from.
Well, let's see. As far as the question of the fish to catch for the rest of my life, I guess, it have to be drum, because I do catch those all the time, and no matter the size, they're fun because they're fighters. And I am on a mission to catch the Indiana state record. So I have
That's
to say
awesome.
I would fish every day until I caught the record. So drum would be the one.
That's funny. Drum crossed my mind because I love the fight when I catch a drum. Like, they're a lot of fun to bring in. But I eat fish and I don't eat drum. So I don't think I could pick drum, which would make me want to go with, like, crappie is, what I've known my whole life. But I wish I could say that there's walleye in my lake, but there's not. So I wouldn't want to pick it. But we have sawguy, but I haven't caught a lot of those. But I really think I would still have to pick catfish, because I have goals of catching bigger ones. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't caught anything near the size that I want to catch. And so, like, originally I started out with just analog regular scales. They only went to 50. And I was like, that's my goal, is to get one that's up there to 50, and, I was thinking that would be good. And then I was like, but then I'm going to need the digital scales, because I want one that's like 100 pounds. You know what I mean? I don't want just to stop there. So I didn't get the 50-pound yet, but I've got the digital scales now. But I think just chasing that chance of catching the bigger ones, because I've had some really nice ones on that I didn't get to bring in, and unfortunately it was the person who was netting for me was the reason why they came off. Or like one time my drag was not set right and it broke off, which was awful. But the netting situation was really bad. Because like I'd been fighting it for so long and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to see it and I'm going to get it in here. And I was just so excited to see, to get to hold it, to get pictures. And I explained to him, like I had a float on there and I was telling him, the float is here. I was like, but the fish is going to be 5 foot below where that cork is. And he was netting underneath of my cork. And like, I was like, no, stop. And he kept netting my line. And like two different times with two different huge fish, he netted and cut my line with something on his net. And I was devastated, heartbroken, because those were definitely my PBs that got away. You know what I mean? I was like, no. So yeah, I've decided if I fish with him again, and I will, that he will hold the pole, because once I know my drag is good and all that, like I know he knows how to fish. So like I'll just have him hold the pole and I'll net it. But really I would just do it myself because I'm pretty self-sufficient. You know what I mean? Like I know that I could do it, but I know that he would want to help. So he's gonna hold that pole the next time because we're not going through that again. It's heartbreaking every time.
Well, Becca's got big plans for me. I mean, she got me the scale that goes up to, I think, 100 and some odd
It's the same scale
pounds.
she got me. Yeah.
The net that goes up to 150 pounds. I mean, yeah, she's got high expectations.
Yeah. She's a good supporter.
My PB is a 19.7 blue.
Wow, nice.
Not big, but hey.
I fish on the Potomac River, and I've only caught a 12-pound blue catfish. So it can only go up from here.
Still all bigger than mine. I mean, you're still all bigger than mine.
Well, so my PB, with my own scales and knowing for sure that it was set at 0, I just have my own reasonings for this. That was an 11-pound, but my biggest one on someone else's scales was 14. So I assume it weighed 14, but I don't know for sure. But it was bigger than the 11-pound, but there's way bigger fish than that in the waters that I'm in. So I have goals of getting those.
I wish I'd known what I know now.
It's sad to say that I'm the only one on this panel that has not caught catfish.
We gotta change that.
You've never caught a catfish?
I'm the only one here that has not caught one yet. This whole
That's
year.
it. I'm out.
I've not caught a catfish since I was a kid.
Okay, so you do not live that far from me. We're going to change that. I don't care if it's that big. We're going to change that.
What about a bullhead? You've not caught a bullhead?
I'll be happy with a 5-pounder.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I'm happy with a 5-pounder any day. I mean, I'm like, oh, it's 5 pounds, but.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to
But those 5 pounders will put on a fight.
Kelly, thank you so much for having me on. I am going to bail out. I have some things to do. It's getting a little darker here. Ladies, I'm just absolutely thrilled. Let's get some.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. We've got time prep, but awesome time up here with you ladies. And I enjoyed it. So thank you very much.
Make that buzz happen.
I may see you on the other side. I just need to go do some things.
Cool.
All right.
And yes, Avid, I see your question. Definitely will let Ron show me anywhere and everywhere that I can do better and catch.
He'll show you where you can go poop too.
Yeah. Well, that's gonna be if that was the case, it would be a 10-minute break for sure. Like.
I wish I'd known what I knew now about catfishing during the winter while I was learning, because I feel like I could have gone out strong or come out strong with a big catfish. But it is what it is,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm still in shock that you haven't caught a catfish.
Yeah, they're all.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what they're all saying. They're all saying I wouldn't admit that, but I mean, I probably have, but in a very, very long time. I was a teenager, and I don't even know how big it was.
Mm.
Yeah.
But since I started the YouTube thing, I've not caught one.
Yeah.
At all.
That
was
needs
just
to change.
We have no words.
Oh yeah. And it might this weekend. Me and Bex were talking about it before the live. I'm actually going possibly to Wolf Creek Dam this weekend, this Saturday, going catfishing. And we've got some pretty good sized catfish down there. So I'm definitely going to hit it up this weekend.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we'll see.
And make sure you bring your camera bag and record it.
I'll bring my phone, my charger, everything, my cord. I got to make sure I have my cord with me this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have I'm thinking about doing a throwback Thursday video because I just remembered that I have a video of the first catfish I caught that I uploaded, but I never went public with it. But I do a little dance, so I kind of want to
do it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's cute. I also need to jump off because I need a bathroom break. So I am gonna jump out, and I'm not gonna just do it.
And I haven't shown her the secret way to go.
Yeah, I don't have the secret way yet, nor do I have a hula hoop.
I was gonna say I could share it in our group message, but he's still in there.
Yeah. Kelly, thank you so much for hosting this. It's been if only for the joy of meeting these other women, but also getting to talk fishing, which I love doing. So thank you for doing this. And yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome. It's been a blast.
All right. Yeah. Love y'all.
I was more nervous about this than the tournament, and I really was. Yeah. It's been now I've learned that my battery pack is not a good one. I'll get a new one of those. So I got that out of the way. But yeah, I talk all the time. I did my first live a week ago or whatever, and it was easy to sit there and talk. I wasn't on screen, but now I've gotten over that obstacle, I guess.
Awesome. Good.
Yeah.
So
Wicker shops. Yeah, I'm gonna take some margin with me. I'm gonna try to catch me some sturgeon down there too. They got sturgeon. We've got walleye. We've got
sturgeon in Kentucky.
Sauger. Yeah, down at the dam.
I had no clue.
There's probably not many. But yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I had no clue.
That place is just covered in walleye and sauger and trout. And catfish, so that's what we had down there. So there are probably not many. There is.
Yeah, but I love to catch a walleye or a sawguy, but I don't like to get them off the hook. Like that mouth of teeth is too much.
Every live. The weird thing is, every live that I've done, with somebody else doing a collab, they've caught the fish, not me.
Oh man.
Me and Lee Evans went fishing together. He caught a 5-pound catfish. Me and my friend Tanner went down to the dam back in February. He caught a sauger on that day. And it's just like every time I go fishing, especially with somebody else, they catch something. But if I do it by myself, I don't catch nothing.
Yeah. I mean, if you came and fished Taylorsville Lake with me, then I would say I would guarantee you a bluegill at the very least. You know what I mean? You're going to catch something. But
oh yeah, I've caught bluegill, I've caught bass. If you.
But
I can catch all that every day.
Yeah, but I can't say that you'll catch a catfish every day because there have been days when I haven't. But for the most part, I do every time I go out there. But. Yeah, I did catch
a 8-inch crappie last night. I will say that about 12 o'clock last night.
Yeah.
So that's one fish I have not caught.
But were you using minnows or jig or?
We were using minnows.
Minnows.
Yeah. But we threw out about 4. We threw out about 4 lines for catfish that night too. So we went back.
Weren't you telling me in a chat yesterday that you had the poles out over the boat, like when we were talking about spider rigging?
Yes. Yeah.
Mark's, I think.
Yeah, it was in Catfish Weekly, or it was either Catfish Weekly or in Mark's Catfish and Crappie. One of the two.
Yeah, I think I was like, I remember
Yeah,
that
we
now.
were sitting on the boat. Yeah, we were sitting on the boat. We had, I think we had a total of like eight poles out.
Wow.
So
Yeah, usually
But,
when I crappie fish, I usually have two rods out, but rod holders is going to change that. But
Okay.
I lost a pole down the lake one day when I was crappie fishing because I didn't use a rod holder because it was just crappie fishing, and I didn't have my bell open, anything like that. But my dad said, "Here, measure this, make sure it's legal," and threw it toward me, and it went in the middle of the boat. So I bent down to pick up this fish, and then my pole just shot down the lake, and like the trail of bubbles. Like, I mean, it was so fast and so hard, it was just gone. And I was like, no, always will wonder what it was that got on there. Because we were tied up, we were not moving. It wasn't hung up, anything like that. It just took off. But that's why I was like, okay, I'll never do more than 2 poles for sure. Unless I have rod holders, because that sucks.
Yeah. Chris from Hooks and Hammocks said he's going to be on Taylorsville here soon.
Yeah, well, he'll have to let me know because those are my waters. I'm out there all the time.
Yeah.
Especially now, like this next month, I should just get my mail forwarded to the lake.
Shireena, do you have any last minute tackle talk? Any advice or anything?
Any advice? Just do it. Keep it real. I don't know, and I'm glad that you got on here, Elisha. So,
yeah. Me too.
I just appreciate you all coming on here. Definitely. It's been an awesome live. We've been going straight for almost 3 hours now.
3 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. And we've had a steady crew in here. We've had probably anywhere from 20 to 30 people at all times in here. So that was great. Everybody was great in the chat, giving thumbs up, sharing it out. Appreciate everybody coming in here. Especially all the ladies that came in here and gave up their time this evening to come and talk tackle with us and give us some little bit of insight on the women's Iron Cat coming up. Definitely be looking out for that. It's kind of gets me a little disappointed that it's taking the place of the Bushcraft Iron Cat. That I was the only one signed up for it.
Uh-huh.
So it kind of makes it's fine.
Well, you can fish it by yourself like I did, and win. Like,
yeah. See, I thought about doing that. I really thought about going out that same day that you're all doing your all and and put on a little thumbnail something about the Iron Cat Bushcraft and win it.
Yeah, that's funny.
I was excited to see what that was all about.
And we might still do it because we've got all the equipment already for it. We already collected everything for it.
Well,
we've got all our stuff that we need.
I think you should.
Do I, Shireena?
I said I think you should go ahead. Just do a live stream and we'll watch. I think that'll be neat.
Yeah. Well, yeah, do it after our tournament. Like,
do it after the tournament.
Yeah.
I will. If we do, definitely do it. It won't be during any tournament. But because Kevin said that I can bring somebody with me as my Joey. But I have to do all the bushcraft. But if I'm going to do it, we're both going to do it together. He's going to help me out. We're going to try to build everything. I mean, we're going to do everything from scratch. The fire from scratch, the shelter from scratch, everything. Try to catch our fish and everything just by what he put in as our list of stuff that we were allowed to take. So, I mean, we were going primitive pretty much.
That's cool.
So, but I appreciate everybody coming in. I think we'll go ahead and call it for a night. So Elisha, appreciate you coming in on your first live talk.
Yeah.
You
Thanks for having me.
did
It's
awesome.
been fun.
You did awesome. I knew you would do it, but
Yeah. Just had to get past the nerves, but yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Hey, you done perfectly. Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Shireena, appreciate you coming in. You're always great to sit and talk to all the time. So, but we will call it right now. Appreciate y'all coming in. We are going to call it a night, and we'll see you all on the next What's in Your Tackle.
Thank you.
See you, folks.
Yeah.